Hi everyone, the Mature Simmer here. So welcome back to Coast to Coast. So I'm pretty excited. I don't have longer distances, but I have a lot more detail, which I think will make these things a lot more interesting. So I was not able to find anything that expanded our distance, up into Alaska or down into even Central America. Now there are maps that do those things, but they don't connect up. They're basically standalone. But what I did find was a lot of additional detail. So let me spend a bit of time here at the start to basically show you around. So starting up here, we've got a Discover Ontario map, which basically gives us a ton more detail in this province here. We've also got a Vermont map, which adds a few cities into Vermont and some detail there. We've got a Mid-Atlantic map, which at this point just affects Virginia. It's 0.3 is the version of it, so it's brand new, but they're intending to basically fill out Maryland and all of that. So over time that should expand, which would be pretty cool. One of the biggest changes, as you can see here, is what they call the Midwest expansion. This thing's just awesome. It fills out a lot of the stuff I didn't particularly enjoy, and then for big cities like Chicago, you can see it actually does a lot of things, including a lot of the interstates that we talked about. Indianapolis is built out, Louisville's built out, St. Louis is built out. So they've gone ahead and expanded, plus they've just added boatloads of cities through Nebraska, things like that. So if nothing else, while we're going to have not much to see for a little while as we travel through here, for example, we're hitting some stuff pretty quickly, because they've got some stuff in Michigan, Indiana, but things are fleshed out. Now again, obviously I haven't driven through here, so I don't know, some of this was already here. In addition, I'm just trying to make sure I've hit everything. I think I have. Not much has changed. I think there's a little bit more here, because there was some of the Texas stuff was already there in the northern part, but I think part of that Midwest expansion does it. So the other thing is, you can see there's a ferry here from Los Angeles. Where's that go? Goes all the way down here. It's not quite, accurate, but, I think they're making the attempt to kind of go down here to the Panama Canal or something, although maybe that was higher up, but either way. And they get us over here to the Caribbean islands, where obviously we have lots of ferries as well. So some islands are more built out than others. Cuba's obviously just got a couple places to go to. And no roads in between, so it's like if we want to get to Guantanamo Bay, we're just literally ending there with a ferry. But I think this is Jamaica, this is Puerto Rico, these are the Bahamas. I think both of those are Bahamas. So again, are they to scale? I don't know, but it gives us some options. And more importantly, it gives us, hopefully, some scenery, so that, when we go through this vast expanse of the middle. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot one too. The Montana expansion as well is included. So instead of just having this road through here and these two roads, we've now got some places to visit. And obviously, SCS is going to be giving us a Montana map soon, so that's going to be short-lived, but today is today, so we're going to do that. So I'm going to be curious. I'm assuming it's just gaps, but you can see like at intersections here that have been changed, even roads that I've driven, we've suddenly got gaps in the discovered area. We've also gone from like 12-13% explored to just under 10% again, but that's to be expected. So again, zoomed in here, you can see, this is the mid-Atlantic expansion where we've got, just a lot more road network going on within those places. So let's take a look and see what job we're going to take. So there's a lot of options. I looked at a lot of things. You can see all the deliveries on the first page have some sort of speed associated with them. So the longest by far is car parts. However, and again, we're not going to end up selecting this. We're going to select a different one. So it does take us to a different location of Mexico than we've been at before. But if you look at where it comes from, there's not really a reason it needs to go this far. So what I would logically be doing is I would be selecting this and then coming straight down here and then, basically finding my way down here to Nogales somehow. And that would vastly shorten the distance. So I wouldn't be at $36.29, and I'm also only getting paid $15.82 a mile. So that was one of the reasons I kind of discounted that. Then I looked at this one that has a great payday. Goes from Halifax that we delivered before and literally clear across the country. It's going to take us through this new material in the Midwest expansion and get us all the way out to Coos Bay, Oregon. Very close in distance, 36.29, 36.07. And it also has the added thing near and dear to my heart that it's hazmat, so I'm going to get some additional credit in my VTC. Then I saw this one, because this is now an urgent delivery versus an important delivery, so this expands my experience bonus. However, once again, when I look at this, I'm going from here, and then I'm going to Sierra Vista, Arizona. Well, why is it taking me all the way out here? Once again, I'd reroute it, so suddenly this is looking less appealing because I'd likely come down here and just basically as straight as I could get to there. So I may have to go that way and around or that way and around, but in any event, it's not going to be anywhere near 3,500 miles. The next one I looked at, because it's hard to avoid the dollars, at $67.52, is this hydrochloric acid. And it's an urgent delivery, it's hazmat, looks perfect. And doesn't really take me anywhere strange on the map. But then, I always look just to make sure. This got interesting, but this got super interesting. Because this, in essence, is the Holy Grail of loads. And more importantly, it's the Holy Grail of loads in a way that doesn't have the problem that usually is the Holy Grail of loads, which is I'm hauling a giant boat normally. Because then it's fragile, and it's high value, and it has to go quickly. But these are forklifts, and they weigh nothing. They're 17,000 pounds. Mileage is still pretty good. I'm not getting 230,000, but 151,000. And again, when I calculated the experience, this exceeds the experience of everything. And it's 3,200 miles instead of 3,700. So I've got a shorter distance. I still go through the middle of the country. So I get to see what this new thing looks like. And I get myself down here to LA, which opens up potentially this port, which could suddenly then start having jobs originate there and maybe head off to the Caribbean or something. So this is the job we're going to take. And the reason we're taking it is exactly everything I shared with you. So the other benefit we have here is because this is mainly in the US, this isn't that long of a haul. It's showing me 2 hours and 51 minutes. And obviously, again, we're under 3,300 miles, so that certainly helps.
Turn left.
Alright. Whoops, yeah, he's got a stop sign. So I just got to be careful that I give myself enough room here. Hopefully that'll work. Yep. Alright, so this is like a breath of fresh air into the series here. Ooh, a little bit of grass over the road. So they need to either do some landscaping or figure out what happened here. But in any event, hopefully that's just a problem here. But in any event, it's alright. It kind of makes it look like the trees are dropping needles all over the floor, all over the road. I don't know why I said the floor, but just making sure that that's accurate. Do I really want to turn to the right? I do. Do I need gas? No, we got a few places to get it. So I think we're okay. We have 400 miles till we're going to be out of gas. So this will be a little bit of a tight space here. Definitely testing my truck skills here. But no, I'm excited for what we might come across at this point, because it's definitely gonna give us a change. So let's see what's the best display for us. Transmission. Trying to see if we have a trip meter somewhere. It gives us miles till empty, but I'm already getting that. And I think, yeah, the trip meter is there, because I think that's about right, 12 miles, and it says trip 1 on top, now that I see it. Alright, well, we're going to have to pull right over and get ourselves weighed. So we'll do that, and that will give us some good information. But yeah, the hope is because we're lighter, all in all, this might not be too bad. Now we're going to spend a good amount of time on the SCS maps here, given that we're traveling straight across the country. So that'll be different too, but right, 55,000, so not that heavy to begin with, which makes sense because we've got, you know, a trailer that's got a lot of wood on it, but, you know, there's probably not a ton of metal required to support the weight. While we're waiting, we'll just take a quick look. So we just got 2 forklifts strapped on there. Not quite sure what he's waiting for. Okay, is he ever going to go? If he doesn't go after this car, I'm going around him. Looks like he is, so I think we're okay. But, yeah, the hope is, if nothing else, this will be a lot more interesting. And with it being more interesting, it should be more enjoyable for everybody involved. Me driving along, and, you know, it kind of breathes some new life into the possibility of really pressing this until I really unlock every truck option so that I know that I'm not missing something and then regretful later, because I prefer not to keep swapping out trucks. So I'm not sure what brand this is. This is an International, so yeah, this is another one that I do enjoy the dash layout. I think it's, you know, easy to read dials. but a nice digital display in the center. Just, pleasant looking layout. So I think, yeah, this, one of the Western Stars, a Mac or Freightliner, is likely what we'll end up with. Certainly if people have got any preferences, I don't know that I'm necessarily partial to one or the other. The way we're playing this at this point, money shouldn't be an object. We may even be able to start expanding our trucking empire and hiring some drivers and getting some extra trucks at the same time. But, again, we're going to try to be careful and not go too crazy. But it doesn't do us a lot of good either to just have money sitting around in the bank account. So at this point, we kind of need it because, we're trying to get to the point where we are going to buy some vehicle. Obviously, we have our base garage in Cleveland, Ohio there. But the question becomes, does that really become our base of operations? Do we expand out more? Do we expand that garage itself, and take 3-5 trucks right away out of there? I think even $1 million would make it challenging to flesh out a full 5 trucks with drivers, but we might be able to pull it off because if I buy some base level vehicles, I think I'm usually able to get those for like $150,000, $170,000. There's some Peterbilts that are pretty inexpensive, and while I'm gonna get the truck I want for my drivers, cost is kind of more important. I just need to get them capable tractors, and that's what I've used before and been pretty happy with the results. So but we're still a little ways away from that, so we'll worry about that later on. So but yeah, this is other than the short trips, obviously, but this will be the first time that we won't have had some leg in Canada, or I guess that's wrong. We're in Canada now, so never mind. I was going to say we're fully in North America, but no, we're not, and that's okay. I mean, again, we're trying to make sure. So I did say when I was kind of giving you the rundown on deciding about which load I was going to work on, that this was giving us more experience than anything, and this should give us almost 10,000, where the others were in the 8,000 range. Might have been the high 8,000s, but this one had a pretty nice premium over everything else. And again, it's because it's high value, it's fragile, and it is urgent. So my biggest challenge will of course be not damaging it, because as we've seen when we were transporting the cars, even 3.7% damage was pretty substantial. So it's usually hard to do it with no damage, but certainly if I can avoid running into things, that'll be great. So again, we're at 54.5 hours of driving time. We're leaving on Friday afternoon, obviously, and we've got till next Thursday at 11 a.m. to deliver. So that gives us 145, almost 146 hours. So we obviously have some time gap, which is good. It's necessary. We're going to have to sleep to stay within driver regulations and an appropriate rest. But once again, because we're traveling through high-speed roads, we've got a pretty good shot of going along here. Now this does appear to be a 10-speed as well. You can see the 10 in the lower left there.
Keep right, and
but
continue straight on.
we got to 75 pretty easily, and I think that's simply because... Alright, so we do want to exit right, as it said.
Go straight on.
I think it's because we just don't weigh a lot. You know, we're not like the 85,000 total pounds we were with the 10 speed we had before. We've got 30,000 pounds less, so... And once again, just because it's a 10 speed, that doesn't tell me what type of engine this thing has in it either, so... There could be a lot of reasons that we're doing pretty well here, but as you can see, the acceleration is certainly not bad. We're going up, you know, a mile an hour every couple seconds. So again, it's a truck. It doesn't obviously go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, but it does do okay. So I'm going to go slow so that I get preferably no damage at all heading over here. Hopefully these guys stop doing this and cutting in front of me, because I'd rather not run into things. So again, our employer pays that. We are now heading over. I'm going to move over to the left because I don't trust these guys are going to give me room. So, welcome to the United States of America. Now, there is a possibility. Obviously, I have not tested these maps. I've just visually looked at them. Frankly, because I think testing them would be pretty daunting. So the best way to test them is to go through and do this. Now, other than the Mid-Atlantic map, which is new, I think it's just not made it into any kind of load order. No odors involved. I promise you, everything smells just fine. It got released. It was in the map list just in the last couple weeks, it looks like. So I think it's just too new to get positioned. But based on where Vermont and Montana were supposed to be, I just kind of went ahead and placed them right near that in the load order, and you know, it looks like it's worked. I don't see any disconnected roads or things like that, so I think we're okay. And it did say from the mod author that it's designed to work with coast to coast, so you know, I'm sure in that case then they've kind of aligned roadways where they stop and where coast to coast starts, so that it kind of eliminates the dead zones. But I think they were looking to make that like a 7-state project eventually. I just, again, don't know how long that may take them, because they didn't say anything about how long it took them till now, and even if they did, once again, I just don't know how things will end up, so. But it's pretty exciting. It looks like, you know, we've got some folks at least trying to flesh out certain areas so that while we wait for SCS to expand things, you know, I think we've got a viable alternative. So, you know, the issue we've got at this point is, you know, it's a large country, the U.S., and there's obviously large portions that are still untouched. So as you can see, now we're in Maine, and so yeah, basically until we get into kind of the western part of Ohio, it looks like, you know, they've got some roads. They've added Lima, Fort Wayne, and so forth, you know, and there's certainly less around for a bit, but I'm going to be curious as we, you know, we're not kind of going through Chicago proper per se, we're going along the southern border, but I'm just curious what we're going to see there compared to what we did before. And it looks like they definitely now give us options to just drive through the city on interstates as opposed to the coast-to-coast design, which was, city streets and lights, which made every trip through Chicago a lot more daunting. So yeah, we've got folks deadheading. That trailer's empty. Obviously my goal, once I'm an owner-operator, is to avoid that entirely, and that really shouldn't be a problem because I'm not going to be that picky with my loads, but depending how we ran things, or if we started buying trailers and wanted to do certain things, that would obviously make things potentially a little more difficult. And I know the hired drivers, especially until they are able to get a good distance, run back empty often, which obviously is just costly. And so again, if we're just using our trailer, they're just they're bobtailing, a little different than the deadheading because they don't even have a trailer attached. But we'll see how everything plays out once we get that far. But the goal would be over time, if I continue this, and there's really not a reason not to. It's not like I've got some marvelous idea for another type of series that I couldn't really handle within this space. The only difference is I do have another profile, which is the one I've worked on the most, but I haven't touched it in a long time. But it was my initial profile that I just kind of drove 100% on, and I think I'm up to level 41 or 42 there, so definitely much further along, and I think we've got a pretty massive operation going there. So I can certainly recreate that here, and the difference there is that's just on standard SCS maps, so it's a much more limited travel environment. Much more roads discovered, obviously.
Go straight on.
But there's no reason that we can't, just continue to drive here and have the added benefit of all the additional road networks that we've been given by these folks who have built these expansions. So, just based on some of the challenges I've had in the past with add-ons and mods, I've been pretty selective in what I use, and throwing in all these maps and everything was definitely something I wasn't sure how it was going to work. I mean, I am pleasantly surprised we're not having any kind of performance issue that I can see. I mean, at this point, this profile has 32 mods active on it, so it is definitely burdened quite a bit. I've got a newish machine. I think it's not quite a year old, so I think next month it'll be a year since I got it. But obviously at that point, I can't say I spared no expense. I didn't go crazy. But I definitely know enough to know kind of cheaping out on things just means you're going to get frustrated and a lot earlier about the limitations the machine puts on your ability to use it. And if it gives you any indication, I don't know that I'm going to get the same result, but the previous machine I was running on, and that I was running ATS on, so it was still capable of doing that. Alright, so Portland, Maine, we're going to need to stop for sure. We got 97 miles still empty. Again, I forget that they don't really put any rest areas along the road here. We'll also see if that changes in the Midwest expansion. That would be lovely if it did, because I would much rather do things that way than constantly have to pull off the highway. Yeah, but I was trying to recall what I was talking about, sorry. And that was continuing on, just moving forward in this map, in this series, and should certainly be able to do that on this map, although I still feel maybe I had gone on to another topic, but that seems like that was a little while ago, but maybe not. I don't know. If I missed it, I apologize. And once again, it's kind of the normal thing. Discussing something else comes to mind. It'd be nice to get out of this wolf pack of cars. It's kind of crazy. I can't really maneuver. Eventually I'm going to have to exit here. Probably, hopefully, pretty soon. I've only got 60 miles till I run out of fuel, so yeah, these guys just are not helpful in the fact that they're running at the same speed. They really need to be moving along quicker so that we can pass this group of cars. But I don't think they're going to do that before I get where I need to exit. So, and I'm wondering if to some degree that car up front of him is what's slowing him down. Guess we'll find out now. Yep, there he goes. The question is, again, do I have enough distance now to pull ahead? But I wanted to at least get going on this, share, what I've learned and what I was able to discover and expand, and as I said, pretty excited with what I found, so wanted to throw that out for everybody and get going. So I do want to move over here. There we go. Finally we're able to. And then we should be able to exit and get some fuel. We don't need to rest yet. We still have 7 hours. Let me see where I need to go. It is over to the left. So kind of the far end there. I'm hoping I can pull in and do this properly with my trailer attached, but just as always, I'm not going to put damage in jeopardy, similar to what I would assume a regular trucker would do too. They obviously select spots to fuel that were conducive to trucks. It's just not a lot of the stations in the city are that. So that's always the problem with not having a full-blown truck stop or something, which the coast-to-coast map does not have, or at least does not have many of. So I think this is going to be another truck dealer. Might just be a repair shop.
Never mind. I'll find a new route.
Yeah, I guess it's just a service center. I thought maybe we'd get another dealer discovered, but getting a little bit of roadway here. Interesting. It's almost like we're going out into the country here near Portland.
Finding a new route.
But that's how they designed it. So we're just driving what we've been given, again, as we've mentioned before. Ooh, guardrail there.
Turn right.
So don't want to cut that too close. But yeah, we've got 20 miles.
Turn right.
So I think we're in good shape. We'll be able to fill up, and this should be one of those diagonal. So this is actually a chevron, where the other ones were
Turn right.
chevron or something. But this will work because then I can just head out straight. Alright, so now we'll see. So we had 19 miles still empty. Let's see how big the tank is on this. Hopefully more than 688 miles, but We'll see. Nope. Exactly the same, 668. I thought it was 688, but probably was 668. Maybe we had an international before. I don't know. Hopefully that was enough of a turn. And yeah, I think my only option at this point to get back on is, yes, that interchange. So that's why she's leading me that way. That's not good. Alright, so... hoping it's not a sign of things to come. But the game dumped me out to the desktop. It's kind of strange, because we're not really in any area that I think has any kind of linkage to anything I added. It may have just been a fluke, but I'll keep you with me at this point. We're going to go ahead and try to get gas again. Where it's saved, it was at 27 miles to go. I mean, luckily we didn't lose more time, but it was unexpected. I was talking to you, and then suddenly I'm looking at the thumbnail I was building for this episode that I had popped out and started working on before. So I'm hoping it's just a little bit of a fluke and not something like we had on the previous point here, where things just got dumped all the time. And at this point my problem is, of course, I added so many things in. I don't know that I'd easily be able to tell what the problem is. And it could again just be a problem on this part of the map, going through that same intersection or something. Obviously I had just pulled out of the gas station, and I think I was coming up to the intersection to get ready to turn right. It's possible I hit the wrong key on the keyboard, because I was trying to come back off the map. But I don't know. I guess we'll find out shortly. So let's refill again. Problem is, if we have a problem, then we have a problem. So yes, I'm beginning to speak foolishly, because I think at this point, this is early enough that if I do have an issue, I don't know that you're going to see any of this, because I may have to back things out and just say, hey, I can't run what I thought I could run.
Turn right.
I may be sticking out enough that he's going to wait. So, alright. Well, I definitely hadn't gotten this far, so maybe it was user error. But if it is, I'm not entirely sure what key I may have pressed. But there is kind of a menu key there that when I was doing some other things I had mistakenly hit. Again, not sure how I did that either, and maybe, my hands just having muscle memory and touching things it shouldn't be touching. But as you can see, we've got almost 400 miles into this trip already, so we're doing pretty well. And then I think we're gonna have to rest next, although it may be pretty close like the other one where I had to just want to be careful because nobody has a stop sign, so not a very well designed intersection. pretty much like a free-for-all. Dayton Freight. Another carrier you see around as you cruise the highways and byways.
Get ready to turn left.
So at this point, it shouldn't be a map issue right here, because if it crashes here, that obviously I just exited here and drove through here. So I went to turn my cruise back on, forgetting that since the game had crashed, and I saw the save bubble just appear. So at this point, if it crashes again, we'll be here. But obviously my goal is not to just make slow progress. I would like to obviously keep going, not have any problems. So, new section of road to be discovered. As we get kind of, I think, west of Cleveland is when we're going to run into areas that truly will be affected by the maps we added, as far as road that suddenly was discovered that now is no longer discovered because there's a new road there. So, as one might imagine, it's a lot for the game to keep track of, and as I said, there is a possibility this will all come crashing down around us and will be a disaster, but I'm hopeful, because there was a load order that included everything except one of the things I added in, that these things have been tested and working together before, so I should be able to find my way out of the rabbit hole if we do have something going on there. So we're going to see where we can get before we need to rest. I don't think it's going to be terribly far because we have just over 6 hours, so it's not as if that's something that's going to cover a ton of ground, but it could be another 300-400 miles, because certainly a 700-800 mile day is typical of what I found that I'm able to achieve within the hours that I'm able to drive, and all the other variables that come into play, different road conditions, speeds. Do I hit street lights? Do I not? Or traffic lights? So, all right, here we go. We're in New Hampshire, and then I think we'll probably pop through a little bit of Vermont, but I don't know, again, that we'll see anything very different there with the Vermont edition, because I think it just added 3 cities, but I don't know then if most of the work was really done around that and they just left the coast-to-coast stuff alone that got you through the state, because I think at this point that's in essence what we'd be on. But both New Hampshire and Vermont are pretty tiny, so here we go. We're already out of it, and we're in Massachusetts, so we may actually not hit Vermont at all, because Massachusetts is south of all of those. So let's see if we can avoid crashing again. Yeah, we're not going anywhere near Vermont. So we're going to head toward Albany. I didn't really look if I need to exit here or not. I don't. I need to go toward Boston and then
Go straight on.
and then turn. So probably the next interchange, given how quickly distance is covered on the map. So for those unfamiliar with the scale, the maps are designed in a 1 to 20 scale, or 20 to 1, depending on which way I guess you want to describe it. So every mile in the game is really 20 miles in the real world. And obviously when you've got that kind of a scale, there's only so much you can do. So, if a whole city spans, 20 miles on a map, obviously it can just be this tiny space here and have one interchange and so forth, because obviously the trucks still have to be able to exit, so you can't make the roadways 1/20th of the size. That wouldn't work very well. So I think we're coming up, yep, on to where we're going to have to head to the right, so I'll just stay in this lane. There's the interchange. And then I think we take that over toward Albany and then change again pretty quickly. It almost sounded like we were driving on the rumble strips, but doesn't appear that we are. So I think that's just the engine that we're hearing. Just get our other turn signal going. Alright, so this is a way we have not gone before, so doing a little bit more discovery. But we are on the right road. We did need to be on 90. Technically 90 would get us over to Chicago. And I know that's the way we're headed, but it might also take us down to 80, because it thinks that's a little easier, because I think 80 is what it does bring us through eventually. And maybe it's 90 joining to 80 and then kind of continuing, because I do think they go together at one point, like through Pennsylvania is the turnpike and things like that. And I don't think they do a lot with the tolls and things like that. We don't have toll booths for the most part on the coast-to-coast map either that I've seen. Alright, so we're getting down to like 4.5 hours, so we're definitely going to want to once again keep an eye out on what makes sense. Yeah, so it's actually taking us down to 80. Alright. So it looks like we're going to hit the loop on the interchange to then go down. So yeah, it's always interesting. It's going to be one of those, depending on how well the maps were done, where the challenge comes in for SCS. They've got to make something compelling enough where if these, say this Midwest expansion is pretty good, people may just make the choice, I'm not going to buy the state that they have. I'm going to just keep using the expansion. So there's always that battle in a society where you've got competing companies working on things, or people, because obviously the map modders aren't selling their items. I think that's against licensing for American Truck Simulator. I think you're able to make mods, but you're not able to profit from them. He's not helping. Oh, well, that's because I shouldn't have been in this lane yet, I guess. It's an interesting way those are painted, but I have seen that before, so. Because clearly the dotted line doesn't stop, so it's not like forcing you to merge, but in any event. Now doing a short little run down 91 to 95, take 95 to 80. Still got a little over 4 hours before we need to rest, so no panicking yet, but definitely getting a little bit more concerned. Because that's the other thing with all those mods. I'm not sure that they add any additional fuel or rest stops. Clearly, though, they will in the cities. But I'm not sure they do it other places. You know, and when I was checking the maps out myself, just looking like Chicago, for example, I think it has like 10 or so different delivery or businesses within it, which is great. I mean, that's definitely what I would expect from the third largest city in the country, to have a lot of options for trucks to interact with. So there we go. Connecticut. Hartford is the capital, I believe. So.
Go straight on.
All right. So we're headed there. Obviously, looks like there's a little bit of rain. Sun shower, maybe? Because we're definitely not raining hard, although it's coming down a little harder. It doesn't look that cloudy, so it may just stay this way. Yeah, if I can avoid any tickets or anything, I'm right there at 888,000, just $9 to spare. So obviously any kind of issue is going to put me below $88,000, because nothing is going to happen for less than $9. Alright, it's probably time to turn the wipers on. My wife's always mad at me, says I don't turn them on fast enough, but I can still see, so. And I hate that really annoying sound when a wiper goes over a dry window. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it, and I don't know that I could recreate it appropriately by trying to mimic the sound, so I won't make some horrid sound that doesn't tell you what it sounds like anyway. I'll save your ears from that. Alright, so here we should be turning right. Yep. And then, like I said, 95 to 80.
Right, and then exit right.
So we're heading to New York and Philadelphia, as it says. I wasn't sure if he was going to dive over late, but he didn't. Always a good thing to not create unsafe driving conditions. Well, now it's dark, so now I think it's going to rain for sure. Unlikely to get any early stop here. Turn off my turn signal. And then, yeah, we're looking for, as I said, 80. I don't know if in half a mile we're going to have any kind of exit. I guess not. The sign indicated something was coming up in half a mile, but that would have certainly been something we would have hit already. It's gotten very dark now. So at this point, with 10,000, assuming we can maintain that and get that, at least that, we should go up a couple more levels. So I think that'll get us to 25. So I can certainly take a look then and see, because it's possible that the things at level 30 might be for brands of trucks that I'm not going to consider right now. But a lot of times it's kind of the bigger engines or the more hefty fuel tanks and so forth. And it tends to be more expensive to modify the truck later to do that. So it's usually always best to get it configured pretty much the way you want and keep massive customization to a minimum. Welcome to New York. I saw we were headed toward New York City, so I figured we'd be seeing something soon. Alright, 87 and 91, but of course we didn't have any exit the last time when we had signs, so although it does look like there may be an exit here, but again, we're looking for 80.
Keep left, and then continue straight on.
We have not really seen any
Go straight on.
places for fuel that are nearby that are showing up on the mini-map. And or rest. We're kind of needing rest more than we need fuel, so there we go. Now we're in New Jersey. And then very quickly we'll be in Pennsylvania, because New Jersey, like Connecticut, Rhode Island, all those states, they're all pretty tiny up here. That's why I'm thinking when SCS gets to this area of the country, I would imagine they'd be releasing just a pack of states. Doing them individually would seem
And then continue straight on.
to not really be what you'd want. Oh, this is actually where we want to go.
Go straight on.
Is it where we want to go? It is. Okay. Alright. A little bit confused, so I'm not really going straight on. I'm going here. So it was a bit deceiving. I'm glad I checked and didn't listen to her. And then I believe this is 80.
And then continue straight on.
And we're going to exit right here. There we go. To Cleveland and Chicago.
Go straight on.
Exactly where we're going. So we will finally, I think for the first time in this series, be heading past the city of our garage. I guess it's of our company, even though it's just me, a garage, and that's it. A garage with nothing in it right now, because we weren't able to afford it. Now we're able to afford it, but we want to get something spectacular. And really what it is more being able to do heavy hauls and things like that without necessarily having to worry about it. So it's always that split between being able to haul normal cargo and being able to haul large cargo. I just tend to not like to deal with not being able to haul something that I might want. I think there's a train above us. Yeah. Now I still usually can't pull special transports, although I think I have done that with a truck. Well, one of my trucks. Obviously I've done it with a truck, but and I don't do a lot of the special transports because they tend to be super slow. You're going like 35 miles an hour or something, I think is the max. And so even though they're like 100 or 120 miles, they still take some time. All right, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is relatively wide, so we will be doing that for a while. All right, we are pulling over there, because there is no way, yep, nothing even visible, and we're down to an hour or so. We've got a few extra minutes over an hour, but so I think that should be more than doable in that time, but we're not going to travel anywhere near the width of what we saw on the map in an hour or less. So it is time to tuck in for the evening. you go. Truck Stop of America. So that's good. We should have some easy access to the gas pumps.
Go straight on.
These are all good things, but yeah, we still have 267 miles till empty, but obviously, again, if we're taking the time to pull off the interstate and stop, we're going to top everything off. We're not gonna just sleep and then stop in 2 hours for gas.
Get ready to turn left. Turn left.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I've never seen that Arby's ad. That's a new one.
Turn right.
New one for me, at least. Alright, we'll fill up here. And then again, we'll try to rest. Which hopefully won't be that challenging. But we'll see. I mean, at this point, at least we don't have an articulated trailer. So we should be able to back out if needed. Oh, even better. Alright. So heading out in the morning. It's all good. Bit of a roundabout here. Not quite sure why the map's not updating. There we go. Finally did. Knock that sign over a bit. Didn't fall over though. Alright, so we're going to turn right. As it said, Cisco food delivery. They do a lot of food delivery. These hills on entrance ramps are always a bit of a struggle. Good news is we got up there. Night transport. Another big one. Should be able to pull over here. That car better back off. Alright. Alright, so just under 2,500 miles. Says we need about 2 hours, so still a pretty long way to go here. And we'll see how everything goes. I might run this till the end. We'll see.
Go straight on.
So at this point, we know, because when I looked in the Chicago thing, I know we were on I-80 all the way over through Chicago. So at this point, that's kind of the plan. If I can get up to 80, that would be an even better plan, because the speed went up a bit here. But, you know, like I said, once we're kind of through a bit of Indiana, well, a bit of Ohio, actually, kind of around Toledo is when it looks like we're hitting Midwest expansion map. But this isn't too bad. This is a little bit of variety. We've got some guardrails in the center, looking a little more fleshed out. So, you know, Pennsylvania does have some hills, a little bit of mountains, so certainly isn't out of the ordinary. Alright, shrink ourselves back down to 75, not as if we're going faster than that, but we just don't want to be speeding. Just doing the same thing as the other truck. Now we're on 9, and then we're gonna not switch to 10. No, we did switch to 10, so that's good. Get us downhill a bit. But yeah, I think this is going to take us like through Pittsburgh, other places, and I know it doesn't look like this around Pittsburgh, but they do their best. That is an interesting contraption in front of us. I think it's so cars can pull up, but it's almost like it's a tow truck that's not folded down, but maybe it's a longer trailer. I'll be curious. It looks like we're catching them, so we might be able to get a view of this. Figure out what it is. Maybe it's just a car carrier and it's longer than I think, but I mean, it's definitely a car carrier, but that is just a unique one for certain. A little short, stubby thing.
Go straight on.
Alright, Youngstown and Akron, Ohio. So we may actually be going south of Pittsburgh. So this is normally, I think, the Pennsylvania Turnpike is I-80. Obviously we didn't have any toll booths, and that would certainly be more difficult for them to implement, but obviously they've done stuff with tolls at the country borders and so forth. So we shall see how everything goes. So yeah, all in all pretty good. These almost look like trees that are kind of in the, like almost in the south. It's almost like those cypress trees that have the moss hanging down. I think those are cypress. And, you know, kind of in the swampy bog area, which I assume, again, we're not up here in Pennsylvania, but I'm thinking the modders decided they like the look of these trees. They certainly provide a lot of density, so you can't see through them very easily, so that helps make the map appear less open, which would obviously be a key to some immersion. But still targeting not losing any money from our $888,009. It's my challenge. I'm about, what, 921 miles according to the trip meter since we took off, so not quite 1,000 yet, but I'm trying to figure out. I'm thinking the time is hours, maybe? Because I guess we did just have one day, so it might be 15 hours of driving that we've got. The average of 5.4 miles per gallon is pretty typical. So in theory that would mean for the 500, well no, never mind, we don't have 500 gallons. I'm thinking 668 gallons, we should be able to make it on one tank, but now it's 668 miles. And I don't think that actually takes into account what average I am achieving. I think it's obviously a ballpark. I didn't notice. Actually, no, this is newer than I thought. It's 57,000 miles. I thought we had 574,000 miles, as I thought what I was looking at, but I'm looking at my sim dashboard, which has a 10th number, and trying to parse out what we're looking at, but I do see at the bottom we're at 57,449, 450. So we've got a police officer here. We're good on the speed. Just double checking to make sure something hasn't changed on me. But yeah, I'll be very curious, and I'm kind of excited to see how different, if any, the map will be when we get into what should clearly be the Midwest expansion. And I think for sure by the time we're in Indiana and so forth, we're there. But I just think the amount of roads that are over on the western part of Ohio there, they just blend very well with the others, so I'm thinking they're all part of that they've expanded out a bit. They just haven't taken care of all of Ohio and stuff like that. But, you know, if the Mid-Atlantic fleshes itself out pretty well, that could add another swatch pretty, you know, that's pretty big. And then just have a few areas that aren't taken care of yet, but certainly at this point we've got well more than half, probably more than 3/4 of the U.S. pretty well represented by at least what it appears on the world map. So let me see where we're at. Oh, we're actually almost out. So yeah, we're passing north of Pittsburgh there, as you can see. 9.84%. So yeah, we'll be heading basically through here. We'll continue. Well, we're going to continue on 80. Are we going to go the whole way? No, not quite. So 80 goes up here to Reno, and where does it finally end up? Sacramento? I guess it actually goes to San Francisco, but it diverts a bit, and obviously we're going south in the state. But we basically stay on 80 all the way through Nebraska. And I've got experience driving this stretch of road a lot, so I'll leave that story for when we get there. You know, otherwise I won't have anything to talk about when we get there. But 468 miles, I see a gas station, I see a rest area, just kind of automatically checking. IHOP. I just ate dinner, so I'm not that hungry, which is good, but it's going to keep me fueled up to get this drive done for you. And for me. I mean, obviously I'm playing for my own enjoyment, getting this thing wrapped, and continue progressing. But it's just funny how little changes. I mean, because ultimately I probably spent an hour looking around, testing. I did create a new profile just to kind of load the maps, make sure that they loaded clean and so forth, and that I didn't have issues, because the last thing I wanted to do was somehow corrupt my situation here that would obviously cause damage to any kind of clear continuation. You know, just as before, if things crashed, I can always abandon the route and pick up something else and try again, but it's not like you're permanently stuck. But if you're trying to kind of continue where you guys are seeing what's happening, it would kind of break that continuity. But we should be coming up on the Ohio border soon. And obviously we'll be...
Get ready to exit right.
I think that's inaccurate. We need to stay on 80.
Exit
So
right.
we already know that we're doing that through Nebraska, as we talked about, so that's going to be a ways. I would think most certainly we're going to rest at least once before we get that far. But then, yeah, as we head through, you saw how 80 kind of went everywhere as I was trying to follow it on the map there. It's kind of because we're in the Rocky Mountains and so forth, so this is definitely going to be a bit more challenging to get through, although heading down to LA, we do have a little bit of a southwestern lilt to our trip, but certainly, continuing from where we're at. There we go. Welcome to Ohio. Very, very exciting. The progress we're making. We now are over 1,000 miles into our trip, so we're putting putting road behind us for sure. But yeah, early evening here, but I'm able to go a bit later.
And then continue straight
I could potentially always pick up this evening. Who knows? Maybe I'll start another route if I get done.
Go straight on.
Why is he stopped? Because he's trying to figure out if he's turning. Didn't realize that was a double lane exit. What are we looking at? Those things sticking up. I don't understand what I'm seeing. Are they like fire towers, but on a slope, so they just are angled out? I do not know what that is. I guess it's supposed to be some kind of a mine. Oh, solar panels. But still, strange, weird. Okay. Kind of living in this area, I'm can assure you I've never seen anything like it. Certainly never seen those kind of hills. But they're trying to be creative and so forth in what they're presenting. Because I don't think we're not even at Cleveland yet. So, yeah, I don't think we're going to see much of a difference here on I-90 to be through Ohio, because really is now that I'm closer and zoomed in, yeah, there's a few roads there in northwest Ohio, but really just 2-3. So this just keeps giving me the wrong directions. But thinking for sure by the time I run all the way through Nebraska, at least, I mean, I should be at 10% explored on this map by then. If not sooner, it doesn't entirely matter, because at this point on this dense of a map, getting anywhere near 100% would be a gargantuan undertaking, because we have to have just thousands and thousands, likely tens of thousands of miles of road. You know, because obviously each one of these trips is, 4,000 miles, and sure, we've duplicated some road, but we're probably at least 60 or 70% unique. And, that likely means we're already at 40 or 50,000 miles, or coming up on that by the time we're going to be done here. In total that we've driven with the truck, and we've only uncovered like 10% of the roads, so that implies we have like 500,000 miles of roads. So that wouldn't take just a little bit of time. That would take an insane amount of time. So Defiance, Ohio, I saw on the map, south of Toledo there. I've heard the name, never been there, but part of it is, people like the name because it's unique. It sounds tough and defiant. But yeah, now we're into kind of a segment of the map that's a little more of that just grass and road. Looks like we've got some trees coming up. Again, it might be a small stand that we just get through quickly, or might be entering a forest. Who knows? So yeah, I heard a funny thing as we're heading this way. I don't know, it's a joke, but one of their local radio stations talks about a trucker who was passing through town here or this area and didn't know, and they were talking to someone, and they're like, "Where are you at?" And they're like, "Well, the sign says I'm coming up to Toledo." And You'll see what that is in a bit. We obviously have gone through this area before. I think as we were heading toward Chicago last time and going up to Milwaukee, so it would have been probably our second run, because I think our first run was much shorter. But we're coming up at Toledo too, and it took a little while for her to understand what it was, and you may have already figured it out, but if not, when we see the sign, we'll explain. So I think we're going to swirl around and then go back and come up through those trees as it shows there, so we can see a bit of where we're headed as the horizon slowly draws out. Get some more trees. Ooh, a lot more trees there. Probably all about the same distance. I'm assuming that's kind of what determines when they draw themselves on the map. And there's Toledo, or Toledo, as is the right way to say it. But if you don't know, you don't know. You read the sign, and that's what he decided to read that day. So we have discovered Toledo.
Go straight on.
So it's very nice of us. There we go. Now we're connected to that road. But that means shortly, we'll be out of the great state of Ohio. We are moving along. It just, on these long runs, it's hard to feel like we're making progress. So, alright, so we're joining up to a road we've been on before. So the good news is I'm thinking we're probably at the point where we're kind of mixing a bit of the maps, and that's why we've got some discovered road, some undiscovered road popping in and out. But the good news then, I think, means at least at this point we're integrated well enough that things aren't crashing and dying. So that's always a good experience, because I've had enough of that, and I'm really not looking forward to troubleshooting any more map issues. Really, ever again would be good enough, but I don't know that I'm going to be quite that lucky. But, so there may be one other kind of map group that might integrate with this. I'm not quite sure what it would give us, but we'll kind of see how all this goes and see if, you know, we want to take the opportunity to do anything different. So it's possible, although I don't know that I've seen the sign saying we're in Indiana, but we've got to be by now. If not, we're extremely close. But I don't know that it's, you know, if we're on the Midwest expansion or extension map, it's not looking vastly different. It just would obviously have more roads, but kind of up here in the Michigan, Indiana zone, it did look a lot sparser than truly the Midwest, which I'm sure was kind of their point of the Midwest expansion. Well, there's Indiana finally, so I guess we just weren't here. So again, there's a piece of undiscovered road, but that may just be an intersection that was added to get you to other cities here that now exist that didn't exist before. Yep, definitely an interchange. Angola. Pretty sure we're not in Africa, but there's a country with that name in Africa.
Go
Another large cloverleaf. I don't know if these exit numbers are semi-realistic for where we're headed. If so, we have about 144 miles, it would seem, till we exit Indiana. And at that point, we'll be heading into Illinois. Then, if I'm correct, on our north-south placement, we'd be heading into Iowa, and ultimately from Iowa to Nebraska. All of this continuing on this interstate. So I forget if it's I-80 or I-90, but I believe one of those is the longest interstate we have in the United States. I'm thinking it's I-80, but I don't recall. That was one of those useless facts that I kind of used to know. And I guess you can forget useless facts once you've taken enough time. But I don't know that there was a lot more here. There may have been like 2 or 3 more cities here in Indiana. But it'll also be interesting because I think we're going to pass through kind of the south suburbs of Chicago, and that ought to be fun. But I think before we get there, there was a little bit of a jog on the roadway. So we're not just going to be able to continue straight. We're at least merging or hitting some streets. I'm not quite sure, but we'll find out when we get closer to Chicago. All right, South Bend, the home of Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, Catholic University, very famous in the U.S. Up here, too, I don't know if we would have passed through it already or if it's coming up. I just assume it's just not modeled, but Elkhart, Indiana is one of the largest RV manufacturing places. I believe it still holds that distinction, but perhaps that's been superseded by someone else. But a lot of the RV manufacturers make RVs up in Elkhart, Indiana. You'll see them, parked in their giant lots, getting ready for shipment, so forth. So again, simply looks like just another intersection that was interspersed to allow travel to areas of the map that are now here that weren't here before. So slowly discovering a bit of road here, a bit of road there. I'm not quite sure if we go on I-80 as we head west of Chicago there, if that's all going to be new road. I think it will be, but perhaps not, because we definitely went over kind of into Kansas one time. Again, in an early trip. But yeah, definitely having that kind of zone out, sleepy driving trance getting there. Probably didn't help that, like I said, I ate dinner not too long ago, half an hour, 45 minutes ago. So I'm sure some of that work is making me sleepy. But South Bend, I think, is close to the center going across Indiana. Not too far from Chicago, so as I grew up there, a lot of folks, that was a school they were going to, some of them because it was nearby. It's kind of far enough away to be away, so it's not like your parents are going to come visit you every week, but it'll get you close. Let's see. Right, so I think we're going to need to go there to get some gas, because, yeah, I'm not seeing anything else. So we do the loop, cross 65, and then go down on whatever Illinois 1 is. Not a route I'm familiar with. But hopefully, again, we've got about 100 miles, so hopefully we'll be able to make it. Not sure. I kind of stopped paying attention a little bit, but I think I stopped paying attention, frankly, because I wasn't seeing any more gas stations. So as I noted the one time, when it blinked a lot earlier in our trip, when I know we had way more time and way more miles, I don't normally look automatically. It's still kind of a habit I'm trying to get a little better at, given the distance of things on the map. So clearly with the Midwest expansion there, we didn't get a lot. But here's the cross to I-65.
Go straight on.
Oops, gotta move over there. So telling me I'm 13 miles away, which is probably about right. Got a Best Buy over there. Looks like a lot of weeds along the side of the road. We need to get the mowers out here and tidy things up a bit. Oh, wait, I think this is where we want to go. It, in fact, is, so.
Go straight on.
So, we're getting in Illinois. That's a different sign than we've seen, so it looks like maybe they replaced the signs on the interstate. Whoops, I'm sitting on... I must have moved my foot off the brake a bit. It kind of started going into reverse. Get my display back in the right place. So, got a bit of a challenge here from a light and time standpoint, but we've got 80 miles, so whoops, I hit the brake again. Thought I had moved my foot. Clearly I have not. I'm going to hit another light here. We are, because this is technically kind of the southern portion of Chicago, the way they have this built out, I think. So we've got about 5.5 hours till we need to rest. So shouldn't have to do that. I think we've got this one choice for gas. Yep. Alright. Uh-oh. Great. Alright, good news is not too far back, but
Go straight on.
our second crash of the route, so this is definitely not perfect. In both cases, it happened when we were on the map. This time I was sure I wasn't hitting anything. So I didn't hit any buttons. You know, we're clearly in the modified area of the map. It's been doing pretty well, but obviously we also haven't gotten off the interstates, which are partially there in Coast to Coast. We have loaded things in the sequence that was suggested on the SCS forums, so it's kind of the best understood knowledge of what we want to do. It just might be one of those things that, you know, maybe once in a while. Again, we do have 32 mods running after all.
Let's find a new route.
Maybe it just is going to do that once in a while. And I suppose it's not unbearable, but it's certainly something I would prefer to not have happen, but
I'll find a new route.
don't know what to do about it. Probably not much I can do about it.
Turn right.
And it could just really be it trying to get the map built. Might have been a bit much. But yeah, the gas is right there, and then we'll just turn around and get back on the road. And then shortly thereafter, in about another hour and a half of game time, I'm going to need to start looking for somewhere to rest. The good news is, obviously, ATS will kind of auto-save every 5 minutes or so. So, you know, you're not losing a huge amount, but obviously it looks like we can continue on and then get on the interstate there. So that'll work nicely instead of turning around and going back. Alright, let's turn that off, fill ourselves up. So again, about maybe 150 gallons. It's probably accurate because we had 77 miles or so to go. Truck blowing by there, we got to be careful. But yeah, so we can go here and then turn right. But we've got a little tiny bit of undiscovered road. That happens at the gas stations like that. Home Depot. But, you know, shortly we should be saved again, and if we somehow have another problem, at least we won't have to come and refuel. So you can usually see it up in the left-hand corner. It'll just show a little swirl and saving. It'll just appear for a second or two. So sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. It just depends. But, you know, I'm not sure how to read the crashes that are happening kind of when I'm at the map. You know, I assume they're better than the ones that when I'm driving, because I'm hoping that means they're not things that will keep recurring. But I don't know. That's kind of where my technical expertise ends on ATS and any of these sims. You know, while I've got a good technology background, it's just not in this kind of stuff, not in graphics and animation and games and so forth. It's more business side. This car is pulled in. I get I'm not fully in there, but I've got to be careful then, because he's clearly going to go. Hopefully that means, look at that, 2 expedited logistics trucks. One just pulled off. We've got one in front of us. Hopefully he turns. Oh, he's going straight. I thought he was pulling in by me, but somehow he decided he was waiting. Interesting. Well, that makes more sense than why he was next to me. Oh, again, I'm hitting the cruise, but I'm recovering after a crash, so there is no cruise saved yet. So now we can get it set again and get on moving. Kind of trying to keep an eye out just to make sure I get a save shortly, because it would just be nice to know that I have that before I take a look at the map again. Obviously, you know, if it's 5 minutes from now, I'll know for sure certain I do, but alright, 151A. Once again, in theory, I think that should be what we have left, but not sure. So, but yeah, those roads we've got, that's in theory kind of the way they have designed out Chicago here. The good news was, once again, we didn't pop in and get hit with any streetlights. Obviously, we had to exit and go get gas, so that's a bit different.
Left, and then continue straight on.
But,
Go straight on.
you know, we've got a ways to go here. again, definitely not going to be fully done on I-80 before it's time to sleep again. There's no way we're going to get through here, Iowa, and most of Nebraska. Bit of a hill. Could be a little bit realistic, because again, as we get close to the Illinois border on this end, we're heading toward the Mississippi. It does get hillier normally.
Go straight on.
Yeah, we should have a ways to go. We're probably not even halfway across the state yet, honestly, but Jim Palmer Trucking. Don't know that one, but there's a lot of small carriers. We'll obviously be one of them in a bit, but we'll be buying our own trailers that I'm aware of at this point, unless I'm suddenly feeling some urge that I've never had before. And I noticed as I came back in from the crash, I was just shy of 500 hours of ATS time, so I've definitely played this a lot over the time. Little over a year that I've had it. So it's a pretty good investment into anything over a year's period of time, but
Go straight on.
You know, just hadn't seen that behavior in Peru. I don't know where that is. I guess that's a town in Illinois. I haven't seen an Iowa sign yet. But there are the words, so it's over there to the left of us somewhere. Because obviously we can't go to the right. But yeah, you know, if we somehow get a crash right on the map while driving, that will be different behavior than we've seen, because right now the 2 crashes we have had have happened while viewing the map. I don't know if that tells anyone anything. If it does, and you've got any ideas, certainly let me know in the comments. I'm willing to test out anything within reason. Obviously, if I've got to spend 100 hours figuring it out, I'm probably not going to do it. I'll just deal with it. But, you know, I'm thinking any suggestions I get might be load order changes that people have seen with this, or things like that. So yeah, Iowa's typically a lot of cornfields, a lot of corn farmers. But the drive right now in real time, this is still the same day as when I started my run this morning. So there's a possibility, a pretty good one I think, that I will actually have gotten this one run done in one day. So, as I said, I am motivated right now. I'm taking advantage of that, pushing ahead. I could be doing things like Train Simulator, but just feeling this is where I want to spend the time, so that's what I'm doing. And for those of you watching this video, I'm sure you are grateful that I've chosen to do that, because clearly this is the sim, or a sim you prefer to observe and take a look at.
And then exit right.
Alright, we're going to have to look at the map. It's definitely been saved by now. Alright, we do go to the right. Looks like we're then just going to cross into Iowa.
Exit right.
Yeah, and I don't know if maybe on the small map it was pulling up too many delivery points or something, because there was definitely some density there, given that they had us in Chicago. But whoa, what is he doing? Ah, well, so much for that. But it's either that or risk a significantly larger accident. Oh, I don't know why he suddenly stopped. There was nobody there. Well, that was unfortunate. Now we are well below $888,009. Well, it was a bit of a pipe dream anyway, but it's always good to aspire to something. So, made it about 1,500 miles on this trip before we had the issue. There you go. People of Iowa welcome you. Fields of opportunity. Big Chevron station. 534 miles. We need 3.5 hours till we need to rest. Let me just now take a look. Oh, goodness. There's a lot of rest. Oh, it's crashing. Alright, so I'm almost positive it's the fact that if I zoom in, there's too many things for it to display. Alright, so we should be able to get to Des Moines. There's nothing else along the way. Pushing to Omaha is going to be too far. So we'll try to get to Des Moines and rest there. Because, yeah, now back up to 4 hours and 12 minutes. I'm not quite sure how far back we are in our mileage, but obviously a little ways, so we'll redo it again. But yes, I think what it is when there's too many icons on the map, I think at some point it just explodes from that. So I think if I'm somewhere that maybe it's not so busy, but the problem is obviously I'm zooming in to get a view of something because I kind of want to understand what I'm doing, and clearly that's breaking things. So that's my working theory on what is happening. Again, don't know how accurate that all is, but that's what I think is happening. So, the better news, though, is obviously I'm able to continue. It's not crashing from a road standpoint where I can't get past it like it was before. So I can somewhat control it by not looking at the map too much, but obviously I've got to be able to tell where I'm going in some cases, and if the GPS was more accurate, that would help. I mean, the other thing I could potentially do, I prefer to drive the way I am. I guess the one benefit is we have our money back because we didn't crash here. So this time I stopped. Because frankly, I wasn't as close to him as I was before. I think it's a different truck too, but
Go straight on.
But that worked out well. And then just hoping now as these spots all show up on the mini-map that we won't have a crash in-game. But what I was going to say is, because I like to see the roads I'm discovering, and if I've seen something, I don't have the GPS show up on the mini-map. I could change that, and then that would stop me from having to peek out at the main map, and that might give me a bit more control of things. But we're back to the Iowa border. We'll discover Walcott here, obviously, very shortly. And then this was when I hit the button, I think, and caused my demise. But no need to do that now. But yes, 3 hours, 5 minutes. We should absolutely be able to get to Des Moines by that time. If somehow we get there in, say, 2 hours. See, so now there's just lots of icons showing up, and just hopefully we don't overwhelm the system in some way. Because I think the difference here is, like, it doesn't, I guess it does put the icons up for the places I'm stopping, but obviously now some of those icons are going away.
Go straight on.
This is like clearly some giant rest area. I'm sure one day we'll stop there. Today's not that day. Alright, and at least once that vanishes off the mini-map, in theory, that should free up some stuff. But no, what I was thinking was on the mini-map, when it's then trying to paint all the delivery spots, because I think that's what I've not seen up on the map in the split second, is it's showing like the blue for rest and the green for gas. It's like showing those icons. There we go. Now we just saved again, so we're now at the point where we're past this location. I happen to notice that happen. So 1837 or 6:37 is the real time I have here. But yeah, this is taking me a bit longer with these hiccups now, where initially I was honestly thinking I'd be having no problem to finish on time before I'm ready to take a break. Now I'm not sure that'll happen. It's interesting. Iowa City's like floating, but very, very slowly approaching. It's not giving us any kind of discovery. Now it's gone, so I'm assuming it won't. I saw Ames, Iowa is above Des Moines. Ames is where the University of Iowa is. I've got a friend's daughter, I think, is attending there, or was thinking of it at least. So I know we had discussed Ames, Iowa before. So yeah, not a lot. I mean, certainly it's wider, more, you know, the trees are spread out more, but still kind of plain visually. But you know, if nothing else, it'll give us some variety of roads, but it's not clearly giving us a whole lot of additional scenery of substance, I guess, which once again I think that might be a bit much to expect of some basic modders. I'm sure they're just trying to lay down some roads and towns and so forth and give us places to drive, give us more miles of road. But this is accurately done. I do like the just dead straight road on flat terrain. This is absolutely the Iowa and Nebraska experience that I'm used to in real life. So this is where sometimes people get in accidents, because they truly, I think they call it highway hypnosis, where you just get in this trance-like state because you're not having to turn, you've got your engine kind of doing what it's doing. It's just like white noise in the background, and they fall asleep, and yeah, when the road does turn or something, or their car starts to drift, they end up running off the road and killing themselves sometimes because they have a pretty bad accident. Because obviously, we're able to go 75 here, so assuming we're going to go to the left a little bit to get through what looks like that break of trees. Maybe not. Guess we'll find out. Yep, there we go. Might be going to the left more than a little bit. So that continues to curve. Thinking we're close here to Des Moines. We're under 2 hours, so we're definitely at the point where we want to rest. We're not going to push through to Omaha, because I think Omaha's actually further away from Des Moines on the other side than this was from, than Walcott was from Des Moines on this side. And especially given we're still not seeing it, you know, we're probably at least down to an hour and a half, if not even more. But there, we got some exits there. That one doesn't look like it goes, well, it kind of does. So I've just got to keep an eye out. Alright, that's the Texaco refinery. I'm assuming I'm going to have another chance to exit. That's a little dangerous, because if I don't, I've just made a fatal error. Come on, there's got to be another entrance or exit here. Don't do this to me. That's not good. Really? Alright, well, there's another spot to rest there. Give me another exit. Come on. Alright, looks like maybe? No? Oh, boy. That is not making me very happy. I cannot believe there's one exit. Oh, there it is. Alright. So I can turn around there. Definitely not going past this, because I know there isn't another one. But, yeah, looks like we've got a truck dealer of some sort here in Des Moines, which would make sense. Des Moines, the state capital of Iowa, I believe. So, I used to know all my state capitals, but I'm an old guy now. I don't know. Probably know more than a lot of folks, but maybe not. I'm pretty sure Iowans know what their state capital is.
I'll find a new route.
I'm just going to rest. Hold your horses. So impatient. She's so upset with me. Never mind, I'll find a new route. Just feel like I'm getting yelled at all the time by some lady, letting her down. This hill's not helpful. But, alright. I'd love to, but there's people in front of me. Yes, I am getting tired. I should find a place to rest. In fact, I have found a place. I just need to get there. I don't need to get gas yet. I got 400 miles, so that should give me a little bit of leeway. Alright, so there's a Walmart warehouse there, it looks like. And then right around this turn should be the dealership. Actually, it looks like I might need to turn on the road first and then get there. Ooh, turning yellow. Alright, we got through that. Oh, this is like one of those service stations. Alright, I'm gonna do this, but then this is gonna be, yeah, see, I'm hung up. This is what I was worried about. Alright, let me go to my outside view. I am going to leave this on the road. It's just asking for trouble. So, I'm going to do that, and then we'll turn around later. I know, I'm getting there. Alright, if he wants to run into me then, it's going to be his fault. I'm parked.
Okay, here we go.
You can beep all night. I'm going to sleep.
And then turn left. Okay, let's find
rest. 6 a.m. Time to get going. So again, we obviously don't have any data when we're disconnected like this as far as time, how far we need to go, because at this point we're in essence in free roam mode, so it doesn't know what we're doing. Although it is still showing me the Thursday delivery time and the load that we in theory have. We just don't. It's telling me 3 miles and 14 minutes, which obviously is wrong. I'm not sure. Alright. I was worried it wasn't going to get me in the right place. Oh boy. Really? That's a lot of traffic, because I really want to just turn around and head back. Well, I'll be able to potentially get in there. Alright.
Keep left and then turn left.
See how this all plays out. Alright, amazingly well. Because, yeah, someone could have pulled up next to me, going the other way. I would have then clipped them. I didn't even think of that, but it's just so much driving around town if I go the other way. I have to go this way to get back. Old Dominion. Again, massive carrier in the U.S. So we'll see how everything goes, but obviously we need them to be moving along. Tempted. No, someone's coming. It was just like, I think I can pass him, but now I certainly cannot. We're going to get stuck at that light. There's no way it's going to stay green that long. He is having a hard time. I mean, obviously I'm catching him, but he's not moving much.
Turn left.
All right. See? We'll see, we'll see. So I think it was 76 or something as the road that we would go to. Whoops, I don't need that. So, yeah, it's 76.
Drive safe.
I just wanted to zoom out fast enough so I didn't get any kind of a ding and get dumped again. But yeah, certainly all those road signs don't help either. So I might be able to change my setup on the map to, oh, he's a dually. 2 trailers, I didn't realize that. That also makes it a little bit more challenging for his maneuvering. But I'm assuming, well, he's going to go to the right, but I'm going to try to pass him because he is taking his sweet time, even though he's going down the hill. I mean, it is only 35, but he doesn't have to go that slow. And I'd like to make some forward progress before I just fall asleep here in Des Moines. So, sun coming up. It'll be behind us because we're heading west. These really steep entrance ramps that slow us down quite a bit. Cubana. Don't know where they're from, but they're from somewhere. So, I think we're going back to 2 lanes here. It looks like on the mini-map the road is shrinking, so I'm going to move over before I have someone next to me when I get over there and have a problem. And that might just be doing that because of the city and the fact that you could have a lot of traffic entering. You know, there's certainly a good amount of traffic already anyway. But yeah, I'm thinking before we have to rest again, we should certainly be kind of at the location, but again, doing some quick math. I think we're going to have to sleep 2 more times before we're able to deliver. So we've got 28 hours of driving time, and again, that would take the full 14 hours and then some, because we're above 28 hours. So, and once again, we're not able to run it the full 14 all the time because we get close to running out of time. So all right, 70, 75. It's always good because sometimes you change states. Obviously, I don't know that I looked at the speed limit when I pulled into Iowa. But we're doing well. And then, you know, we've got Iowa, Nebraska, but then once we leave Nebraska, I think then we are on SCS maps at that point. I'm assuming it'll be a little more possible to look at things without it exploding at that point. You know, I'll probably have to be further onto the map than just right at the corner, because otherwise we're catching part of this map. But that's kind of the situation, but it's a little bit more. And if this gets really kind of unbearable, yeah, I mean, I think I may just try changing the GPS. You know, the challenge is it still won't tell me like where the rest area is, where I can sleep, and where I can get gas. When I start emptying, I still have to know that. And that requires a peek at the map. So I do need the map to be working to some degree, because I can't ignore it entirely. Maybe there's some mod out there that would give me distance to locations, but I'm not sure. Kind of like, you know, looking on your GPS, tell me where the nearest gas station is. There might be something like that for there, but not something I've looked for, because normally doing what I'm doing is fine. Just taking a peek at the map and pulling off. Alright, well, we are past the halfway point. We've got by quite a ways, actually. We're at 1,765, as you can see, and we're at 1,561 left, so we're almost kind of 200 miles ahead. So probably 100 miles ago, obviously, we would have been even. Maybe that was kind of where we were. Maybe Des Moines was the halfway point of our trip. But yeah, at this point, unless something really changes, I'm unfortunately probably not going to be able to get done in this particular run. So I tried, folks. Gave it my best. But it's not to be, especially if it crashes anymore. Alright, so we're still not at Omaha. So get them down to Kansas City. Oh, this is a fully divided cloverleaf where it's just gonna draw pieces and pieces. Alright, so now we're in Omaha. It's coming up, so I think, oh, there's a river. They put a river here. Look at this. Nice. So, Warren Buffett is based out of Omaha, one of the richest people in America. Used to be the richest man in America, but Then we've had folks like Jeff Bezos and Zuckerberg and, you know, those guys get past him. So, and I'm sure he's fine, you know. You're worth several $100 million or $1 billion or $2 billion. Probably having someone pass you, probably not that big of a concern. I don't know, I just had kind of a funny thought of, wouldn't it be crazy if there was like a list of, you know, all people in a country or all people in the world, and everyone was constantly ranked by what they were worth, like those guys are? That would have to be automated. There'd not really be another way to do it effectively. Oh, now we can go 75. Again, I don't know that this truck is going to be able to do that, but we'll speed ourselves up to 80. Alright, so now we're at 227 miles to empty. It's time to start looking for gas. So yell out if you see any. I'll never hear you, but you'll feel like you're participating, and that's going to make it more exciting for you to watch. I'm such a funny person, aren't I? We've got some drain pipes there. And then, what's this? Orange belt stages. Okay, Lincoln, Nebraska. Which I believe, I don't know, is that the capital of Nebraska? I think it is. And then, I might want to pull off here. So yeah, that's a Texaco. Yeah, I just don't want to push it. And this way I don't need to look at the map. And
Go straight on.
again, it's not like I don't have to stop for gas a lot anyway. Alright, I'm going to try to get through the lights, so I'm going to be a little unsafe here, because I want to keep moving. Oh, doesn't really matter, because of course we're stopped there. But that light looks like it'll change soon. So a lot of times they become green after the arrow. Fingers crossed that this is one of them. And then we'll get to the Texaco truck stop. Fill up and continue on for the... Oh, it's not. Oh, no, it is. It just had a much bigger delay than I'm used to. But, yeah, that'll help. So it's interesting, like, it's got the cities, but... Although I guess there is a little road going off over there, so maybe there is some sort of a delivery point. I'm like, you would assume at a city that there'd be places to
Let's find a new route.
get loads, but obviously I'm not seeing anything right now. So yeah, we've got quite a few fill-ups. I'm not even going to try to guesstimate. We're still almost at 1,500 miles, so we're going to be stopping a few times when our truck can only go 650-ish, and obviously we need to start looking like we did at around 250, so, you know, it's possible we could have gone another 150 and found it at 100, but we found it at 210, so obviously then that means I only made it about 400 miles before I filled up, so that could mean I could easily stop 4 more times.
And
but
then continue straight on.
Alright, and yeah, these lights and this timing definitely slows things down quite a bit too. So that's partially why it's like, yeah, I'm not going to finish, because I have maybe at best about an hour right now that I'd be going, and I have, according to this, an hour and 17 minutes, and obviously every second I'm sitting here just adds to that time. You know, plus the game time ticks away for my rest, and you know, also means I'm stopping just that little bit faster too, as that ticks away. Although it's actually sitting still. No, it just went down, so it's moving slower, but not enough. All right, an arrow now, please. All right, cool. So swinging wide because I want to make sure I can. Oh, and I can't get fast enough. No, I guess I did. You can turn on the GPS at 20, so it just peaked up there, and then at least I'm not playing a game of trying to keep my foot on the gas and everything. I can just focus on steering and merging and all those good things. Pretty dark clouds ahead. We might be driving into some rain. So it might be a rainy day this Sunday. But maybe not. Maybe it'll blow over before we get there. Yeah, that'd be kind of a cool effect if they could do, like, if you've ever been on a long road trip and you're on roads like this, sometimes you can see the rain. Like, it'll be these little gray streaked lines below the clouds. And so you can tell it's raining because you've got these shadows that stretch out beneath the clouds, but they don't model them this way here. But that would be kind of cool. Just a different visual, but once again, if you're devoting development time and computing time to that, then you're likely not devoting it to something else that might be more helpful and interesting to the game player. So it's like I need to park next to one of those blue and yellow trailers. Might be like the old Charge It or something, which I think is a fake business in the game. So you would think that those would be replaced with something else, with the real truck things that we've got, but if that is what it is, clearly they're not. Now again, it might be something totally different, so. So again, we're looking for 76. So yeah, the one thing, I guess I wasn't telling my story. So yeah, we're going from Omaha to Lincoln. So the town there with a K is called Kearney, Nebraska. And so I used to work at a place, and there's a plant there that makes filters, and I was involved in a company that was one of our facilities. So that company is now no longer in business. It's been acquired by someone else. I'm assuming they still own that facility, but I don't know. I'm friends with some folks on Facebook that used to work there, but they're not on. I'm not with LinkedIn with them, so. And not everybody keeps everything updated, so it's possible things might not have changed, but yeah, the easiest way to fly in was to fly into Omaha and then drive, and that was about a 3-hour drive to get there. So you usually didn't make that trip just for a short day visit, but sometimes we did. But yeah, I would come out a few times, probably at least once a year for the time I was working there, and so I got to know this stretch of road pretty well. And it was very, very quiet. It didn't have a whole lot of pine forests. It had a whole lot of corn. Alright, I need, at least I think I do. Yeah. Like I had moved my camera. I'm like, this isn't quite looking right, because I could see the mirror, and I'm like, I don't think I can normally see that. So I was going to try to move back, but it's not letting me, because we are technically going slower than the speed limit. But as soon as I pull behind him, he's going to slam on his brakes and cause me a problem. So we're going to let him get a little further ahead. Plus, at some point here, although I think we've still got ways, because as you saw, Nebraska is not a small state by any stretch, which is why kind of going to the smack dab of the center where Kearney is a 3-hour drive. So it's like a 6-7 hour drive probably to get all the way across. I've not gone all the way across in any recent time, so I don't know for certain. I almost had to go that way because, so there's Kearney. There we go. So we've discovered it. That's even more exciting. Some place I know is actually, and some obscure place I know is actually somewhere now in my map. And again, I don't know if there's anywhere to deliver or if it's just a city. I might regret this, but I'm going to look at the map. I can't tell if there's anywhere to deliver. Because, yeah, it looks like this far out it won't show me that. And I just don't want to tempt fate, because it's not like I'm going there. And if there is, maybe someday it'll send me there. And if there isn't, then it's just a town on the map. You would think the towns that they bothered to put on the map, they'd at least have like one place to deliver to and, you know, deliver from type thing, but maybe not. Maybe the map's a little too dense at that point for that. So we are going straight on. This is Praxair, I think so. Yep. But yeah, so if we're at Kearney, and then we're going to North Platte, so the Platte River goes through Nebraska. And Lexington, Nebraska. Look at that. We continue to unlock a few places here and there, which once again, if there's nowhere to deliver, don't really do anything for us other than just having the satisfaction of saying we've unlocked it. But right now I'm not seeing anything close enough to the highway to deliver to, and that road north of us is kind of staying close enough that I should be able to monitor that, and I'm not seeing anything. So, sadness. But yeah, I know we kind of went down, and then we turned up this way, going a little bit northwest, and then we will go down on 76. So yeah, the thing that had confused me is I thought this was a load that was going to Coos Bay, but that was a different load we had looked at. I'm not even sure if it was in this run that I was looking at it. I think it might have been, but I think once again this went out on experience points. So the cool news is after that small crash, we're now over 2,000 miles, coming up on this year, 2022, in our mileage. Strange odometer fun that I'm having now. But I still got my $888,009 after my accident got wiped from the record because the entire world had a Men in Black moment and had their memory wiped, and we started over. Nobody knew I hit that guy except me, so I guess that kind of disproves the point of our memory being wiped. But anyway, any of the little digital denizens of ATS that reside within the code, they don't remember it, and therefore they gave me my money back because they didn't know. So I'll take it. Again, truck pulls over, slows down, Not fun. I don't like it. Alright, well there's North Platte, and I think shortly after North Platte, we were going on 76. And then I don't know, again, how long we're on 76, but we'll figure it out if we need to. But I don't know that we need to, because I think then we'll be getting into the official mapdom of American Truck Simulator. So yeah, I'm not sure if we're going to get into Colorado or if we're going to go down into Utah. Yeah, Denver's 254 miles, but again, I think that's on I-80, and we'll be off of it before we get out of Nebraska. Alright, little pickup truck. Get past him. Get out of the way. So unpleasant. Alright, thank goodness. That is a weird, old-timey looking kind of Jeep SUV thing. I don't know what that is. I don't know if I'm mixing European and American models. Obviously someone could bring their car over from Europe, and I'm assuming they're legal to drive over here, just like rich folks move their cars from here over to Europe or something, so who knows? Alright, so according to this, we've still got an hour, 5 minutes to go. Nice Tesla ad. I don't know that I've seen that before. Ogallala. Heard of it. Didn't know where it was. Now I do. Very exciting. Now you know where it is too. But we didn't discover it, and that did have places to deliver to. I don't know if that's floating grass or like grapevines or something. That was weird. I think it might have just been floating grass that was kind of up in the air. So, continue to power on. But as I said, yeah, unless we make up a lot of time, this is going to need to end at another time. I think this is our switch to 76. Yep. Oh, 76 actually goes to Denver. 80 just heads up to Cheyenne. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Construction. Oh, you're not doing this to me. Come on. Can I go through? I might try to squeeze through. Because it looks like I can make it. And I see traffic in other places, so they'd be mad at me, but that's alright. I don't need those random events here. It's one thing if it's some small thing and I have to slow down, but when they close the whole road, I don't know, maybe it would have just let us go up and we could have joined back on here, but I'd rather not try. Because again, I'm on an urgent delivery. I don't have time to add. Alright, so they're welcoming us to colorful Colorado. The question again is this, like, when do we really get off the coast to coast or Midwest extension or expansion, whatever it's called, map, and truly get into the SCS version of the map? Assuming it's relatively quickly, but don't know. Hopefully we won't have any hiccups like we did from Mexico. and all will be well. Oops, moved over a bit too much. Again, I'm still set on cruise to go 80, but obviously we're not even able to milk this thing out at 75. So that's also one of the reasons I work pretty hard at getting the nice, powerful truck so that regardless of what I've got, it's going to be able to haul things effectively. So while getting it set for heavy haul, obviously lowers the mileage. You know, I don't think it's substantially more. I think I'm at like 5.2, 5.3 when I drive that kind of truck anyway, so. Alright, they're spraying. Got the sprinkler with the crops there. But I'm thinking at this point I've got to be fully on the base maps, and then at this point we basically wouldn't leave the base maps. That doesn't mean there aren't potentially enhancements on the base map too that are giving us some other items. Alright, so it said rest area, but we've got just under 6 hours. We don't need to stop. But yeah, this definitely is starting to look more like the complexities of STS, or SCS. So, good stuff, good stuff. So, a little bit disappointed that there wasn't a bit more oomph to the enhancement of the map, but once again, it gives us a lot of alternatives to go traveling. I was going to say I saw an arrow for turning, but I didn't glance at the sign fast enough to see the speed, so I was trying to be careful. Usually on the actual maps there are a lot less turns that you really can't hit at the speed limit. They're usually a lot better at not creating that situation. Well, I better stay over here. The way station's a mile away, and you know how that's going to go. Be very surprised if I'm not stopping. Yep. That's what I figured. It's right there in the afternoon. The peak of the middle of the day. I kind of figured that's what we'd have.
Finding a new route.
You can go ahead and do that, but I gotta go here because they told me to. Right, again, 55,000. Right. Now we're down to, 292, but now we're on the actual maps, so usually I start looking for things around 200. So I'm going to go back to that pattern, because that should be workable. And similarly for resting, a lot of times I don't start looking until the 2-hour mark. So we've got a little ways we can go. I'll likely still continue a little longer after that. So I was trying to figure out, am I close enough to when I need to quit that I want to call it quits, but I don't think I have to do that yet, so I'm not going to. So, yeah, there's a rest area here, but this is... we don't need it yet. We're still almost at 5 hours, so we can definitely go further. And heck, it's only 2 in the afternoon. At this point, I'd basically be starting right after midnight. So that's not really what I want to be doing. complex exchange of roads here, that's for sure. Almost up to 75 again. Looks like we've got a slow cement truck, maybe? That's what I'm thinking that is. But I don't know for sure. I think we're catching it, but maybe not, because once again the speed limit is 75. So he may stay just out of reach, but I'm pretty sure we're catching him. Clearly we are. And clearly we have got a cement mixer. Very, very nice. Alright, that car's going to stay ahead of us, so we'll move back over to the right lane. Alright, Denver's 45 miles away. Question is, do we stay on this road? Where are we? There we are. Okay. Now we get on 70. Head to Grand Junction. Oh, my favorite place, Moab. Driven through there. But now we're going to go through the center. So it's going to get interesting. But alright. So yeah, at Denver we basically get on 70. And then we'll start heading more aggressively south once we get past Moab and so forth. Then the challenge we're going to have is in, alright, I gotta slow down 10 miles. In California, we're limited to 55 miles an hour, so we'll go down 10 more miles yet, down to 60-ish. But anything we can do right now to keep moving is a good thing. So yeah, 25 is... Oh, I remember this. Interchange. This one's crazy. There's stuff all over. So. U-Haul? Yeah, U-Haul. Not past the car yet. Definitely slow going in that way. I'm thinking this will just kind of join up and convert, and that will be on 70, but I guess we'll see what happens. I may be sadly mistaken. But yeah, these are definitely a lot more difficult, and you know, the scenery on the side, I mean, obviously those look like appropriate mountains as we'd be heading through this area. I don't think we're headed toward Grand Junction, so that 246 miles may not matter, but I don't know for certain. Alright, so now we are on 70, so we've already moved over to where we need to be. So we'll just keep plowing along. But yeah, this is where just kind of a beautiful, beautiful scenery. So Colorado was one of the maps. I think it was out. If it wasn't out when I started playing, it came out like within a week or two, I think. But I'm pretty sure it was available right when I started. It's just, I did the demo first to kind of see if I liked it. I fell in love with it pretty quickly, and then I think went ahead and added all the other DLC along with Colorado all at once, if I recall, that was available. It's the only one I've not had since I've begun was obviously Wyoming, that wasn't available yet, but I think it had already been announced as being in the works. If not, it was announced pretty quickly. And then, you know, obviously now we're waiting for Texas and Montana, so. Alright, got some street lights here, so clearly I didn't want to slow down that much, but hopefully I can get through the light. I think we're good. Not quite sure where they... Oh, this is for the tunnel. I didn't want to slow down at all. I thought we were somehow like pulling off the interstate, but we're not. We're just, again, going in the tunnel. This one's a long one, if I remember. There's a viewpoint on the other side, which I think is what we're seeing. But it was the Eisenhower Tunnel, named after the president who basically started the interstate system in the U.S. So there we go. A viewpoint is discovered. If it was a rest point, I could have stopped, but yeah, I'm at 2 hours 35 minutes. So, runaway truck ramp. I wish I was running away a little bit, but I'm not. Is it really 35? I don't understand. Maybe because it's in the mountains and it's a little curvy, but... So, I just need to be careful. Go slow down a bit, but I think, yeah, because we're going downhill, other things, so 2,000 feet, you can see it there going up the hill. And then I'm assuming once we get down here and then head around, we will be able to go faster. No, we're still going down, so actually we probably can't. I thought I had seen that it was basically reversing, but clearly I was wrong. So this is always a little bit tight. I can't believe at one point, I think I was still using a mouse to steer when I was coming through here at one point, and that is not easy to do around turns like this. It's a white knuckler as it is. Just make sure, right? Just keep following the road. Wasn't entirely sure, but that is what we're doing. Yes, I know I'm running out of fuel, but not seeing anything yet. Alright, looks like we've got some there, so that'll work. Because we've got 100 miles, I think we should be able to make it. Obviously, we're going to find out. But, that's the goal. And obviously here through the mountains, there's a lot of wiggling around. So, 48 minutes. I think we did make up a little bit of time because there was that 35 mile an hour segment that I kind of kept moving on. So that helped, and at this point, yeah, it's even a little bit slower, but yeah, this is a beautiful bridge, the way this goes around. I always liked this part of the map. Just kind of keeping an eye out, because once again, if I'm coming up on a police officer, I'm gonna have a ticketing problem that might be a police SUV. No. I'm definitely being one of those bad truckers who's just pressing my advantage a bit. Oh boy. Alright. So yeah, this is added on as well. Oh boy, that car's in pretty bad shape. I don't know if you caught it, but it might be the worst accident I've seen in the game here. Alright, so we've still got 60 miles till empty. I know that viewpoint here was about halfway, so feeling optimistic that I'm going to make it. We continue on this cool bridge winding through here. And we'll see, but my hope was that I could gain some time here, but it's still telling me 47 minutes. I'm amazed that I'm going 20 miles over, and I've been doing it for probably 50 miles of road here in the game, and I've gained no real time. But anyway, obviously it's gonna do what it's gonna do. And maybe it'll recalculate it later, I don't know, or maybe it's just I'm not making up time. Because yeah, I'm not looking at my dashboard now, I'm trying to make sure I stay off the walls, because that will be pretty ugly otherwise. Likely flip the truck, certainly do a significant amount of damage otherwise. Oh boy, I need to exit here. Yeesh. That came up on me before I knew what was happening. Alright, good news is the turn signal got him to stop. Because yeah, if I passed this, that would have been bad. Down to 25 miles. So, looks like Hot Springs is where we're at here. Hopefully I can cut across. Yep. Oh boy.
Okay, let's find a new route.
Can I go around, really?
When possible, make a U-turn.
This just seems like a really bad station for me. I'm hoping I'm not going to regret this, but we're going to try to be good and stay connected. Because I think I think I've been through this one before. And I think it's pretty tight back there. Is it really that late already? Oh goodness. 32 minutes. How did I miss that? Alright, well now we have a second problem. Alright, I don't think that's on my side. That's not good. That's even worse. Alright. Well, I guess I can't consider that terrible. It obviously just saved before it exploded, so. So I didn't lose a lot of time there. I honestly didn't lose any, because I was obviously just tired and then looking at the map. So, yeah, somehow I just totally lost track of the fact that I was so focused on not running out of gas, I wasn't paying attention about not running out of time. I've got to swing wide enough here that I don't start to clip any parked cars or anything. Alright, I think I'm okay. But yeah, there's no place to rest right here. Yes, I am making a U-turn. So I think I'm going to end up having a sleep penalty. So that's going to mess me up a bit. It's going to screw up my, whatchamacallit, my, money. So shoot, I didn't run into anything, but now I'm going to potentially lose money that way. Very sad, very, very sad. I don't know what else to say other than very sad. Because it is. Alright, so we'll do what we can. But we'll keep an eye out for things, and I'm not sure, because I think we're getting off the interstate, too. So that's going to make things interesting. But yeah, at this point, I'm already at 0 minutes. So I'm on borrowed time. I think once I get past 8:30, I'm going to start getting fined. I'm going to try to, again, zoom out a bit. Alright, looks like maybe when we get to Grand Junction, I can do something, but I don't know that I'm doing that in enough time here. Especially given that I'm not up to speed yet either. Although the good news is I'm moving along pretty well. But yeah, I think somewhere around one of these mountains is that rest area that goes around the back. Getting that, you know, zoned out, hazy, darkening thing that happens when I'm past my scheduled stop time. Oops, don't need that. So I am surprised it crashed over here, but that could just be, again, the fact that there's so many things loaded that it's kind of struggling. But yeah, the rest area is coming in over there, and I've never stopped at that one. I keep like wanting to, because I'm just assuming it's kind of cool looking, but I don't know if it is or not. But yeah, we're already almost at 8, so we're in essence like 20 minutes past our time at least. But we'll keep an eye out, because again, we should be able to stop at Grand Junction, and I just need to make sure I don't blow by that. But like I said, I was so focused on not running out of gas, I just completely neglected to look at my rest time. Not that there was a lot of places to stop, but I'm thinking there could have been somewhere, and I think part of it was I had pushed it so close, because yeah, I remember last time I looked at it, I had like 2.5 hours, and I'm like, oh, I'll worry about it at 2 hours, and then I think that was when the gas started being a little difficult. Maybe it's appearing. So we did discover Grand Junction. It's just a question, if we get lucky that like time slows down here, that would help, but I'm not sure that we are. It doesn't look like we are. It's still going down pretty quickly. But I think we've got, yeah, there's some rest areas right there. So I just don't want to. Now I'm worried about bringing up the map still. I was really thinking once I was onto the main location, I wouldn't have this problem. It's going to be one of those that I probably just get flagged right at the last minute. Like I'm coming around. Like if I could have pulled straight in, I would have been in a space already, but we've got to come around. We've got a light. That's going to take more time. Because yeah, it's been 7 minutes since we basically were able to pull off. And now it just went down another minute. We're going to have to wait through that whole light cycle. Not good. But yeah, and I obviously just got gas, so. Alright, now it's turning the arrow. Good news is it's sitting at 13 hours and 53 minutes, so it hasn't gone down to 52 yet. So I think it's letting me sit. I guess I could just look at the clock on the screen. It's Sunday 8:31. Obviously if it goes to 8:32 or something. So it just finally turned green, so like I said, well now it went to 8:32. So it is going slow, but I'd be surprised if I'm going to get past like 8:40 before I get penalized. I might even not make it past 8:35. So I need to get in there. Again, it's a ways around the parking lot before I can park, and there we go. Now we're 8:33 already. Probably as we're moving, it's gonna, oh boy, it's gonna do something to the clock again. Alright, I'm gonna go around this way. I don't need you to find a new route.
Let's find a new route.
Alright.
Please, make a U-turn. Reroute when possible.
So I should be able to pull in here. There we go. Alright, somehow, some way, the ATS gods are with us. We did not get a sleep penalty, so I'm not going to have any, have any problem. Or I'm not going to lose money right now. I guess I might still have a problem, but yeah, I still got to stop one more time for gas, so, well. Oh, I can't go out this way. I got to go this way. Oh boy, do I have to go all the way. Oh, this, see? I was so happy I didn't have a problem, and now I've created my own. I don't know that I'm going to be able to straighten out. I'm not. Oh boy, well, at this point I'm going to fill up since I'm here. Every little bit helps, but man, what do I do now? Oh boy. Suppose I've got more room to turn, so I can swing wider and then do that. So I'm going to do that, and that will give me a bigger turning radius there. Because then I think I'll be able to straighten out. If I come out here, I should have enough of a run up. And if I don't, I guess I can always back out again and go a slightly different way. But no, this looks like it's working. That's good. That truck's like bouncing. Look at that. It's like bar. That is weird. I don't know what happened there, but if it just spawned strangely or what.
Okay. Recomputing.
Or if it's kind of designed that way.
Keep left and then turn left.
This is going to be tight.
Turn left.
Wow. I'm pushing my luck, but I'm trying really hard to keep moving. Alright, so I gotta be careful because I'm down to 35 here. But yeah, it's gonna take me there, and at this point the GPS should be accurate, so I don't have to worry about it as much. So I won't have to bring the map up for that, but alright, 2573 done, as you can see. 758 to go. We're right in that same boat that we were before. 13 hours and 40 minutes. Now 39. It's going down very, very quickly here. And it's 13:48 to deliver. So in theory, I don't need to rest again, but I do need to stop for gas again, which is obviously also going to throw a monkey wrench into things. So we'll see how it all starts to look, but once again, it's not going to happen anytime soon. Maybe I'll finish it up tonight before I head off to bed, but we'll see. Come on. Because, yeah, now we're almost 20 minutes apart. This light really messed us up with the way the time is running here. It's not running as slow as it was in the other location. So that's unfortunate, because, yeah, now we're like we're going to be at like a half-hour difference, and that might be too much to pull things through. Well, I'm glad he waited,
Keep right.
because otherwise I would have clipped him. That would have been, again, ugly.
Turn right.
So here I can stop and then I can go, assuming he's not going, which he may, and when they take off, they really take off. Again, trying to swing wide enough here. Alright, I think we're good. I almost felt like I wasn't facing the right way, but I was. Or, you know, straight forward, but I hit my center key and my head didn't move. Alright, so normally if they're far enough back and they see the light, they change some stuff, so alright. So we're at Grand Junction, but I think we start cutting across on Route 50 at some point. That's also not going to help. But yeah, now we're over 30 minutes apart, so yeah, I may have to rest again. It was really close, but if I have to stop at this way station, that'll slow me down again. So there's all kinds of things that could impact us yet.
Keep left.
Well, we don't have to, so cool. Small wonders, small blessings. But I wonder, because it's like a port of entry, I wonder if that's almost like an agricultural inspection station. Why? Why? Because he's just stopped. Why is he stopped? See, that's the thing that's just frustrating. If you like get in an accident because of just AI stupidity. So, folks taking pictures at the Utah sign. Again, these are, I think, permanently there. Alright, good news is I can speed up again. I'll set myself to 80, maybe even 85, but I'm never going to get anywhere near there. But I can go above 70 for sure, so. But yeah, this should take me across, get me to, I think it was Moab. And then we'll be heading down to LA. And like I said, hopefully if we unlock LA, that will let things originate at the port. And, you know, next thing we know, we might be going to the Caribbean. Who knows? Of course, I wonder how that would work if I'm going from LA and then I'm just driving on a Caribbean island. Is it really going to give me the 8,000 miles or whatever, or is it just going to give me like 30 miles? So, I'd be curious, but that's partially why I'm kind of excited to have that option, because I've never had something that would be like that insanely long of a ferry ride. You know, and I can't even imagine. That's got to be like days on the ferry. But now I like want one to happen. But I'm just not sure how it'll even. It might not even show up on the sorting. I might have to go look for it, but I might just do it just to see what it looks like. Not necessarily take it, but I might also, because even if I take a little short one like that, then I unlock that other corner, and now I can like take stuff from the Caribbean up to Whitehorse or something. So I don't know. We'll see. But there we go. Now we're on road we've been on before, at least for this segment. Looks like coming the other way though, so we should be unlocking some things. I just need to make sure I'm not going to go to the right. It doesn't look like it, so we'll continue on then. So yeah, I do think price is kind of up a bit. But yeah, we've got a lot of wiggling through the mountains here. Just a regular SUV, because I'm, again, moving along a little quicker. Although this curve might do me in, so I think I'm not going to push my luck here. Because this one I can tell is pretty sharp. Again, I think I can go downhill from here, so... Although this might be too much too, so I better be careful. So I'm already going 65 on a 45 curve, so... Some of it is because, yeah, there's a little bit of an uphill here. So I'd like to maintain more than a little bit. Well, that's not great. Oh well. We've got what we've got. But yeah, we're still on 70, so we're actually not at the point here that we can do much difference. But this will certainly slow me down some more again, but this looks like, yeah, it's shaping up again to be a sleep and be there in a few miles thing. So, got a rest area here. Black Dragon viewing area, it said. I'm not quite sure what that is, but... I'm not sure that I've ever gone through here. Like, this doesn't look familiar at all. And that mountain, or whatever that is, the butte, the mesa, that's unique enough that I should remember that for sure. So I may have never actually traveled this route. And that's partially, I'm sure, because I've just never... I don't know, but I'd imagine I was going somewhere to LA through here, but... Again, it could just be the other roads that got added on, the way it was pieced together. It just made the most sense. But I do have to be careful, obviously, is when I pick the start of the map, you know, those other routes you saw that really took me, like, way east and then brought me back, and, you know, that probably easily added 1,000 miles to the trip. But those would be viable trips to take if I was just doing things. You know, again, once I'm an owner-operator, but yeah, I don't think I've gone this way before. It's pretty nice. Just very, very cool, kind of like it is out west all the time, but and we're able to move along. Hopefully this guy will actually realize that we can move along. Why is he hitting his brakes? Now he better stay behind that truck, because I am catching this truck. If he doesn't, he better stay ahead of me, or I will be an unhappy trucker. Nobody likes those. No, this is... Because, yeah, it's part of Interstate 70, but it's clearly listed as, like, U.S. Route 50. Just hard to see ahead. I'm just worried again. You hit one of those construction things there, and suddenly everybody's stopped, and you're coming around a curve, and you can't see them, but yeah, obviously I've been, like, through Moab and stuff, so I know where that is. That's like a route that when you're just using the base maps, you're going by all the time. I mean, that's the one thing I definitely like about just how I'm doing this series, is there's just so many places to go that you're not kind of stuck doing the same thing, which is why it was a little bit disappointing with the Whitehorse piece that was happening, because it's like, I get, you know, that's one of the best places to go, but it's just a bit much. And the challenge becomes with just the base maps when you're trying to do what I'm doing, which is usually the case I'm doing in all cases, because I try not to take out loans and, you know, try to run a company the way I would physically run my own company, if I was doing this for a living, is I would drive for people until I could actually afford to buy my own truck, and also kind of get the truck I wanted. Because I know how that works. You know, you buy a new vehicle and you drive it off the lot, and trucks, I'm sure, are no different. They depreciate, you know, I'm sure very quickly, relatively. You know, and maybe not, because once again, people know trucks can go hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles when properly maintained, versus a car. If you get 200,000 out of a car, you know, people start putting you in the newspaper. But 200,000 in a truck is kind of not a big deal. I think if you start getting 400,000 or 500,000, that might be a bit special, but maybe not. I've never really kind of checked maintenance and things like that. Must be going uphill a bit. Yeah, we're slowing down. There goes a Tesla. We are heading to California, but Teslas are kind of everywhere now, so it is 2022 after all. 198 miles to Vegas, and then we've got ways to go after that to get to LA, so as you can tell, we're not close yet. We're obviously closer than we were, but not close yet. But anyway, what I was saying, yeah, the challenge is if you're just using the base maps, you do end up basically running corner to corner, because those are your long routes. And so kind of cutting through Moab, Price, and all of that, it's pretty common. So like I said, I got very used to running that route. So part of what I'm enjoying here is, I mean, even though it's a bit dull on the route, it's at least different. But you know, we have been repeating things a bit. Now here, clearly we're joining on to something we have already done. You don't have to slow down that much. Goodness gracious. All right. So 9 hours till I have to rest, 384 miles till I have to get gas, or till I run out of gas. I have to get gas before that. But I may be calling it quits here soon. I think this might be a good spot. So I think I'm going to brake. Well, I'm going to get up the hill, because I'd rather not be starting when I'm going uphill, because at least I'm going 50 miles an hour right now. And, you know, obviously it's already slowing me down. And if I can start up here on the crest of the hill, that'll be better. All right, the final leg of the journey. We've got under half an hour in real time, in theory. Of course, again, if we get slowed down, all of that may change. We're within about 20 minutes now of my rest time and my arrival time. So it might be close enough. I would like to obviously make it closer. And once we start moving, the problem is this is 80 miles an hour, so it may not work. So, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'll definitely be curious how everything will lay out. Alright, so it slowed down a bit, which I guess is good, because then I'll be going kind of at speed here. very close to it, so I may actually have an opportunity to gain some of that time back and get done in the short term. So I believe we're still headed in the direction of Vegas. Exit 57. I think the other one was 67. Just don't recall if Vegas is right there, or maybe we're heading the wrong direction. I don't know. Here we go. No, Las Vegas still 134 miles, so we're still in Utah, I think. Then if I think about it, I think Cedar City is there. So we're not in... I don't think we're in Nevada. I suppose we could be in Nevada, but I'm trying to remember where St. George was, because I did in one profile, that is where my home garage was, so I did start from there, and I think it's clearly close to Vegas. It's just what state is it in, and is it in Nevada or not? I don't know. I don't recall. So yeah, if I do this, I'll finish, Monday evening. Again, many days early, not necessarily of any benefit. Once again, we are supposed to be able to go 80, and we're not. So I'm sure any time we've gained, because we're kind of within 10 minutes, I think, if I'm seeing this correctly. So we did gain about half the time. Here we go. Now we're at 70. So if I can keep moving, that will be very, very helpful. And I do vaguely believe, I think we had to go south from St. George to Vegas, because I think that was at one point my initial load was a run from there to Vegas, and I think it was 60 miles or something. It just goes through this turn in the valley, and then we're there before you know it. Oh, come on. We're playing this game again? Where it went to ninth gear, and then won't go. Yeah, I mean, we're so close. Like, we can do this as long as things work out. So I just need to accelerate a little bit more. Get myself again up to 75. And that will then start to cut some time out. I don't know that it's cutting physical time, as we obviously figured out before. Alright, I saw that way station, I'm like, oh no, if I've got to dive over there, but I don't, so that's good. Alright, I'm going to move over here. And it looks like it's going to take us back up to 75, but at this point we're within 4 or 5 minutes. I think this is, okay, Arizona. And then it looks like this is going to slow us down here for some reason. Probably, I think it's just because it's Arizona. So I'm going to go ahead and slow myself down to 60, which again is still above the speed, but gonna not put me in trouble. Aruba Airlines. And they've got a truck. That is interesting. Yeah, this is a tricky part of the road, especially when you're trying to pass somebody, so you've got less opportunity to do some things here. Why is there a Walbert truck? Did it not load something properly? I'm confused. Because this should say Walmart. Yeah, it's like, huh. Now that I'm looking at the trucks, it's like, yeah, they're all not the brands. They were obviously working before I started up again. I mean, it is telling me FedEx and FedEx on the delivery, so that hasn't changed. And again, I think Trimac is okay. Now I'm curious, I'm kind of looking at all the trucks. Are there, yeah, XPL, so there are some. Interesting. Maybe it'll still spawn some, you know, fake company ones. Because, yeah, Yellow Freight. I don't know. Interesting and unique. So, Ellie or Eli? I'm not sure how you say that. Are we again? I mean, we are in 10th gear, so... Again, I will have to stop for gas, so that is going to put a bit of a monkey wrench into things. You know what? I'm losing time because, yeah, now it's letting me go to 75 again. I didn't even notice that. So I'm like, why am I falling behind? But now I know why. Because, yeah, if I can get 5-10 minutes ahead, then stopping for gas might really not matter. But 15 south will take us to Los Angeles. So, haven't gone this way before. Very exciting, new roads. And now it's 65. I don't understand.
Keep left.
I am keeping left. So, heading through Vegas, actually real Vegas, not Edmonton up in Canada. So, if you haven't seen me drive through Edmonton, it won't make any sense, but basically they've got like Caesar's Palace transplanted into Edmonton.
Keep right, and then exit right.
Do we need to, really? Yeah, I'm not sure that we... Oh, God. So I must say, I am not liking the fact that I can't even barely look at the map. Just kicked me out again. So, we'll get moving again. But yes, I did verify very quickly that I don't need to move over to Russell Road or whatever it was and go right. It's not like it takes me some other place. So I'm just going to stay where I'm at. Kind of get that middle section done. I think maybe it's just slightly shorter or something. I don't know, but in any event, there's no reason to be over in the other lane of traffic. So we'll just keep heading down this way.
Keep right and then exit
So,
right.
yeah, now again I'm like 10 minutes too slow, even though I was going quicker, so somehow that reset even messed me up more. Yeah, see, I don't understand this rerouting because there's literally nothing different. And this is actually kind of more the express lanes or whatever, because I don't have any entrance or exit ramps that I need to worry about. Alright, so I think now we're down to like 7 minutes behind. So we are making up time, which is what I would expect. Alright. Oops, it's only 70, so I can only go 75. I can't go 80, but... Oh, Prim, my favorite town again. So there we go. It's discovered. Yay, I think. It certainly doesn't hurt, I suppose. How about that? Alright, I'm going to go a little bit further, but yeah, that wasn't a bad gas location. I probably should have taken advantage of that, but... because we're down to 157 miles before we're out of gas, so... see what we can do. I was a little worried about that turn, but luckily we made it through. Alright, let me slow down, however, to 60. Ah, there's some of those towers we saw the other time that were kind of crooked, that were the solar panel farms. But now we know what those are. They're just a long way away, because here we can't see them. But yeah, we may be in Arizona or California at this point, and if we're in California, then we've got... this is our top speed the whole way, so... Alright, so at this point we're a little ahead. Like about a minute right now, so it's 5 hours and 1 minute to deliver. I've got 5 hours and 2 minutes till I need to rest, so I'm doing what we need to keep pulling ahead a bit. Now it's like 2-3 minutes, so yes, hopefully by the time I pull off for gas I'll have plenty of time. And I'm really only about 100 miles difference in gas, so I don't really even need to fill up again, but I'll do a good amount just to make sure that I have some room to spare in case I need it. Well, hopefully I won't regret not having stopped there. Usually the gas isn't that far apart, so I should be okay. But I did forget out here in the California desert, because that'll totally mess me up if I run out of gas, because then, whatchamacallit, we will have to wait 30 minutes for them to deliver gas to us, so that would be pretty bad. I think this is just a fancy rest area, if I recall, so that's not going to do anything for me. Alright, let me go there, zoom out. Alright, Barstow has some, so we should be good. And there's a police officer, so glad we're not speeding. because we would have certainly gotten flagged for that. Yes, I know I'm running out of fuel. I have 100 miles. I would hope that that will get me there, given that we're only 194 from LA. That I can't imagine that Barstow's anywhere near 100 miles away from where I'm at in that case. But it might be close. But if nothing else, because I'm not sure if Barstow gets discovered from the highway, that will give us that. So we'll have a few other cities down here in the southwest corner of the map. There's that blimp that I think is always floating around, if I remember. So, again, just focusing so that I can see when Barstow appears and so forth. Don't know why places are slowing down. Not enjoying that, because once again it's going to cause me to have to slow down for no reason. I'm just worried about moving over, because passing 3 vehicles all at once is going to be a bit challenging, and it'll be just my luck. And of course now we've got that going on. Goodness gracious. So we'll see what we can do, but hopefully it's definitely like California traffic now, where everything's super busy. I think the balloons, yeah, this is the exit here, so I need to back up and get out of my way, because I'm going to need to exit here. So at this point we're about, not quite 15 minutes ahead, but we're doing pretty well. I guess this actually wasn't where I needed to exit, but here's the Barstow city limit, so it is somewhere here. Alright, I need to be to the left. I should be able to just continue, I would think. But at this point I'm going to move over. Alright, well, we're down to 45. So, we need something soon. So it's clearly pushing the limits. But Barstow is a mile, so. Okay, I see rest. I need to see a nice green gas station somewhere. Oh boy. I don't want to do this. Where? Alright, well, I'm going to get off, because I know it's here somewhere.
Okay, let's find a new route.
Alright,
Go straight on.
It's got to be over to this side here.
Finding a new route.
Alright.
Turn left.
So yes, I do remember when I've discovered Barstow before, which I certainly have many times, given that this is the main map. There we go, there's the gas. So we got 28 miles, and again, we're in the city. So, you know, we're obviously losing a little bit. Well, lights aren't going to help. Come on, you've been red. Change. So right now we've got 20-ish minutes. Again, I think the benefit is, like, it's 4:28 up there. It's still 4:28. You know, it's not changing every couple seconds, so. But it's certainly not changing, so obviously the faster I can make this all happen, the better. we're trying. But the problem is, again, we got to come to a full stop and then try to get over here in a way that, again, we don't hang up on the sign. Alright, so we need 119 miles. Let's see. Alright, there we go. That gets us 300 miles. I'm just hopeful I can
Turn left.
make the light, but I'm worried we're going pretty slow here. Alright, we did it. Amazing. I really didn't think that was, oh boy, gonna be possible. Ah.
Get ready to turn right. Turn right.
It is what it is. There's not really much I could have done there. Obviously, I slowed down, but I had a wall right next to me, so it's just disappointing. Alright, so we do still have a bit of a cushion. Not much, barely 10 minutes, but it's telling us 8 real minutes. Obviously, we'll just keep following the signs toward Los Angeles. Because, yeah, we don't need to go to Bakersfield at this point. But still over 100 miles to go. So not right there yet.
Keep left.
And there will be pieces here that will obviously slow us down a bit.
Keep left.
We are doing that. Alright, so yeah, we're about 15 minutes ahead now, so I think we're good. So we will get there tonight, for certain. No more resting necessary. So, quite excellent. Yeah, if I was to guess, I'm thinking it's got to be like that Midwest expansion map, because there's just so much road and so many points in that map there. That's probably what's causing us some of the issues. So I'm going to move over into the actual truck lane, given that we're going very slow. Should have been over there to begin with. This definitely slows us down a bit. So yeah, we're losing a little bit of time, but not substantial. I mean, we're still going almost 55, so I think we lost a minute. And yes, we know we're going to be tired, and we just hope that we'll be able to park relatively quickly. But we may need to back this one up, because it's not an articulated trailer, so there's no guarantee it's just going to be a pull in and park, which is fine because that gives us some extra experience. But obviously when we're talking levels that are 5,000 or 6,000, the difference between, say, 45 and 70 or 90 is not really counting much. Alright, so I'm guessing we're going to need to go to the right here. Maybe not. Not sure. It's not saying.
Keep right.
Okay.
And then exit right.
Because obviously this is telling me Los Angeles. I'm assuming the rest is like going to get me to San Diego or something.
Turn right.
So we'll slow down a bit because, again, we don't want to create a giant problem right here at the end. So that momentum is helpful. I wonder if this is right near the dock. Because, yeah, somewhere here there's a new, basically, I think it's called a cruise ship terminal in the file you load, but it's a ferry terminal in its description, so. But just not quite sure exactly where that's at, but maybe we'll figure it out in the next one. We'll see. Alright, but yeah, we've got about a 25 minute gap. So it should not take us anywhere near that long to park.
Right, and then exit right.
Oh, okay. This is 27 miles.
Exit right.
So we'll see where it takes us. Because, yeah, this is further away. Further away than I thought, but obviously this is where it wants us to be. What is he doing? Go truck. Okay, nobody coming that way. Sorry, my voice is doing weird things. So, I don't know that I've ever delivered down here. I think I've driven here, but... So I'm assuming I need to, keep going. Actually, I would have to, because that's just the exit and the entrance. Otherwise, I'd be turning back on the freeway. Alright, so yeah, 19 minutes is right now our cushion. 19 miles to go, so we've still got a ways. But yeah, we've got almost 200 miles to spare on the gas, so we are good. We're about a quarter tank, as you can see on the gauge. Would be nice if he turned and left. But yeah, this is probably one of the more challenging places to deliver from a distance standpoint, because good news is at least we're not going through an area with a lot of lights, but clearly there's some road here as opposed to just being on the interstate. Alright, but we're down below 10 miles, telling us less than a minute physically. Alright, well, now we do have some lights. You'd think, now we're 6 miles away, you'd think we'd start to be seeing it on the mini-map, but not yet. Alright, so 21 minutes to deliver, 29 minutes till we need to rest. So now our cushion's only 8 minutes, so yeah, we may get there with no cushion at all or behind the 8 ball. Good news is obviously we're only going 30 miles an hour. There we go, at least we discovered LA. That's also important to our ability to get to the ferry point later. Alright, now I'm confused, because now it's still telling me 5 miles, and maybe it's because we're in LA.
Turn right.
Alright, good news is he's turning as well.
Turn right.
Still got a 7-minute cushion, so hopefully he'll get moving and we'll be able to move quickly too. So let's take a peek. Guess I should make sure he's not sitting there. Alright, that turned green, so that's better. Yeah, now unfortunately we're dealing with a lot of street lights. I think it just saved in case I have some hiccup here at the end, at least. Ah, goodness. Well, he made it through, but we're down to 4 miles. But yeah, we're down to 8 minutes now. But hopefully, since the mileage is going slower, the time will also go slower. So 7:13. That's already 7:14 though. Alright, it's turning yellow, but we may have to wait for the arrow still. I'd be tempted to look on the map, but I don't want this thing to crash, so I'll just wait. It'll get us there. Because, yeah, the FedEx facility, I assume, was here all the time, so it's not like it got added by anything, and I didn't do anything that would, like, modify. Because there were some maps that I think, like, give you, in theory, a better Arizona or something. Don't quite know what the difference is there. Hopefully this will turn because the arrow is done. There we go. But it's still 4 minutes. 4 miles, I should say. Now it just went to 3. Alright, whoops, I'm going pretty quick, so I better slow down. Don't need a ticket. And obviously I'm going to hit this light anyway, so caught up, I think, to the same truck we were following. Well, I don't know if that was the truck we were following. There we go. Now we can see it at least. So we are down to 1 mile. Alright, and now it tells us we can go 55, so.
Go straight on.
Alright, hopefully the light won't change, because I think this is the last. Oh, now we got to deal with that light still. And then turn right there.
Keep right,
but,
and then turn right.
Well, we've got a 11-minute gap
right.
now, so that's nice. And we've got enough room that I can squeeze in here. Plus it turned green. So everything's working pretty well. Alright. Now we just need to figure out where we need to park. Oh yes, one of these. We know how these go. Oh boy. Yeah, that's going to be a little challenging. So I'm going to swing this in since there's nothing in between. So I think otherwise this is going to be really difficult. Because, yeah, I don't have enough room to straighten out. I can go a little bit further here, but... Alright. So we want to go that way. I'll probably have to play with it a bit, but if I can at least kind of get in the right location, or at least push back a bit, I can always reposition it. Well, if I needed to be 1 over, that would be terrific, but obviously I need to be somewhere else, so. Alright, so we'll try this. I'm hoping if I swing around enough, that'll get the back end closer to where I need it. Just don't want to hit the wall and cause any further damage. Let's see, wrong way. Oops. Gotta go backwards, not forwards. Alright, this should allow me to get there. Yeah, this has a challenging swivel with as far back as those wheels are, but yeah, I think we're going to be good here. Alright, let me straighten it out and go back instead of kind of hoping that I can make it really crooked like that, because that'll just be harder to fix. It's just easier to do that. Alright, so here we go. 5 minutes to spare before we head to rest. Alright, it says excellent. That is always what we want to see. So there you go, 99.41. So about halfway through level 25. Very, very nice. So we get 2 skill points. So we're going to add, I'm going to add them there. Have that done. Alright. See, so like we get the long chassis, but it's only 240 gallons. I know there's a 300 gallon Freightliner, so that's why I'm thinking I need level 30 before I am ready to go. So, crossed 1 million. That is a good thing, but we'll take a look. We'll see what's available, and I will see you next time.